Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay. Prof, you are at the office?
Yes.
Okay.
So, dah start ke?
Dah start. Dr. Syakirin, are you there? Dr. Syakirin ada ke dah?
Ada.
Okay, saya start lah.
Alright, okay.
Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. To gain more blessing, let us start our session with Ummul Kitab Al-Fatihah. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين آمين. Okay, respected deans, deputy deans, professor, lecturer, guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first Halal Muslim Friendly Lectures Series 2022. Basically, this program is jointly organized by KLM, KAAT, and INHAD in conjunction with IIUM 40th anniversary and KLM 10th anniversary. With us today, our speaker, which is known and well known among KLM's INHAD and also KAAT community, which is Dr. Syakirin, who will share with us lectures about what is Muslim-friendly ecosystem and where to position ourselves. For information, today's agenda, we will divide into two sessions, which is starting from 9:30 inshallah until 10:45 for the first slot, and then we're going to have a break for first 10 minutes before we continue for the second slot, which is at 11 a.m. until 12:15. And then we're going to have open for Q&A session within 15 minutes, inshallah. But the rest, feel free to write your question in the chat box if you have any inquiries. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, before we start, let me introduce a little bit our speaker today, which is Dr. Khairusi Syakirin Hasyun Hashim. He's basically currently a lecturer in Department of Quantity Surveying, Kuliah of Architecture and Environmental Design, KAAT, International Islamic University Malaysia. He graduated in Diploma Information Technology, Diploma in Quantity Surveying, Bachelor Degree in Quantity Surveying, before he continued his Master in Asset and Facility Management, and he completed his PhD in Facility Management with research focus on waste management. He also previously attached in INHAD as the head of consultancy from 2015 until 2021. Besides teaching at the Department of Quantity Surveying, he's also teach at the Department of Tourism in the Kuliah of Languages and Management, IUM Pago, and actively involved in various areas of research activity, such as Muslim-friendly tourism, waste management, facilities management, and also reading management. And one of his invention was developing the Muslim-friendly hotel rating system, MFHRS, and has been used by 21 hotels in Malaysia, Korea, and also Taiwan. And he is also an active trainer on Muslim-friendly tourism for OIC country. So without further ado, let me welcome Dr. Syakirin. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Salwa. Okay, first thing first, can you hear me? Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, clearly.
Okay, and I would like to share the screen. Okay, wait. Screen, okay, share. Oops. Okay. Boleh nampak ya? Okay, dan boleh bergerak. Okay, thank you. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Deans, Prof. Razak, Dr. Azrul, Deputy Deans, colleagues in KLM and KAAT, and also in HAD and others, and the guests. Okay, as mentioned by Dr. Salwa, this is our first Halal and Muslim Friendly Lecture Series 2022 in conjunction with the 40th anniversary. And the topic that given to me would be on the what is Muslim-friendly ecosystem and where to position ourselves. Okay, altogether I have approximately to 90 slides. 90 slides, 90. But most of the slides would be some pictures, perhaps, and also some data, okay, on the statistic. So when discussing about this Muslim-friendly ecosystem, the first part and the second part would be how to position ourselves, especially perhaps later on we would like to know what to do with this Muslim-friendly ecosystem, get some gap analysis, and also perhaps we can discuss few research ideas and also project ideas on these topics on the Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem. Okay, it should be not only what Muslim-friendly ecosystem, it should be what is Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem. We are talking about the tourism part. Okay, so I have listed the contents for the talk today. Okay, we will look at some of the definitions, and then on the global tourism market. Okay, especially before pandemic, and then on the OIC tourism market, OIC countries tourism market among the OIC countries. Then we focus on the local tourism market in Malaysia especially, and then we look at the core content of the subject today on the individual needs, and then going through the Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem. Okay, and some of the products that we have invented for the last 5 or 6 years, and also we look at future, what to be done, and what are some of the gap, as I mentioned, that perhaps we can further discuss, further research on this area, on the Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem. Okay, one of it is on the MFTE rating system, Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem rating system itself, and then we will look at the research opportunities in this in MFT. MFT, I'm referring to the Muslim-friendly tourism, and perhaps currently under KLM, you are talking about MFTH, okay, Muslim-friendly tourism and hospitality. Okay, so hopefully that this session would be more on the sharing knowledge and sharing some of the experience, even though I believe that I'm not the best person, okay, to talk about the tourism, as we know that in this university we have a department of tourism. So adalah certain thing that I think I need the assistance from the members in the Department of Tourism. Okay, especially when we discuss further afterwards in the research opportunities. Okay, first thing first, we need to look at some of the terminologies used in this subsector of the tourism industry, especially when we're referring to the Muslim-friendly. Okay, so these are the 3 terms that widely being used in Malaysia, in other countries, and also in OIC countries. Okay, the term being used in Malaysia, we are using Muslim-friendly tourism. Okay, but in the same time, the center under MOTAC, under Ministry of Tourism, they are using Islamic tourism. We are referring to the Islamic Tourism Center under MOTAC. Okay, and other countries also, they use halal tourism, especially in Indonesia, they are using halal tourism. So how to differentiate this? Either this term can be harmonized to be one term, or let it be to be three terms, like as mentioned in this slide. Either it's Muslim friendly, the Islamic, or halal tourism. But personally, I'm looking at this, even though sebelum itulah, even though when we are referring to the some of the literatures on this Muslim friendly tourism or Islamic tourism or halal tourism, they define it according to dia punya apa, according to the sifat dia, okay, sifat on this tourism. What is Muslim friendly, what is Islamic, what is halal tourism. Ada juga ni for especially in OIC, that dia rojak jadi. Okay, some countries in OIC they're using halal tourism, some countries they're using Islamic tourism, and only Malaysia using Muslim friendly tourism. But for them, it's a same thing. It's a same sector. It's a same subsector of tourism. We are referring to the Muslim population, Muslim tourists. But personally, I'm looking at a different angle. I'm looking at the how we manage that these subsectors of tourism. Okay, when we're talking about Muslim friendly tourism, it is not looking at how they define the Islamic tourism. Islamic tourism perhaps is more looking at the soul, the panggil apa ni, religion based. For example, like when referring to Islamic tourism, the best example is that when we are traveling to Mecca or to Madinah, okay, we are looking at this religion based tourism. Okay, itu kefahaman saya lah, from my understanding that I can define it as it is. But when looking at Muslim friendly tourism, there is no Mecca, there is no Madinah in Muslim countries, except in Arab saja, in UAE. But in Malaysia, we don't have that facility, ataupun we don't have Kaabah in other country except in Arab, in UAE. So it is more, for me, it's more on the Muslim friendly, where we try to prepare the infrastructures, the services, in order for us to cater the needs of a Muslim tourist. Okay, itu kefahaman saya lah on the Islamic and Muslim friendly. But when we're looking about halal tourism, is another area. It is like let's say some of the subsector of tourism is let's say dark tourism. Contohnya dark tourism after war, post war in let's say in Cambodia or in Vietnam. Okay, dia panggil dark tourism. So halal tourism is just like that. Is a product by itself. Perhaps when we try to sell the halal products and services, and we put it as a one term as a halal tourism products. Tak tahu itu from my understanding. Perhaps after this we can discuss further. As I mentioned, there is no fixed definition about this, either Muslim friendly, Islamic tourism, or halal tourism. But when we go through the standards, one of key drivers in the development of either Muslim friendly tourism or halal tourism or Islamic tourism, we need to refer to the standards. As I mentioned, in Malaysia, when we have our own standard on MS 2610, we are talking about Muslim friendly hospitality services. Okay, it is under the tourism and hospitality. Then we are using the Muslim friendly term. But when we refer to SMIC, SMIC is the standard under OIC. Okay, SMIC 9, they are talking about halal tourism. Okay, but when we go through both standards, if you go through these two standards, either MS or SMIC, dia punya content dia same, sama ya. Okay, sama je. So the term they use is different, either Muslim friendly or halal tourism. Sebab tu saya cakap tadi is a in the discussion of terminologies, there is no fixed definition yet. Okay, just yang bezanya the term being used either Muslim friendly or halal. Okay, and as I mentioned, governance under MOTAC, under Ministry of Tourism, Malaysia, they are using Islamic tourism as a center, Islamic tourism instead of Muslim friendly tourism, instead of halal tourism. Okay, this is one gap. I think for those who like to go through this in depth, perhaps it's a good research opportunities just to define the term being used and to harmonize the term, either Muslim friendly, Islamic, or halal tourism. Okay. So another terms when we refer to the Muslim friendly tourism (MFT) in Arabic, okay, we are using this term like musafir, rihlah, okay, and then ziarah, Hajj and Umrah, as I mentioned, for Islamic tourism, I believe that is referring to Hajj and Umrah. And siyahah. Siyahah is referring to the tourism itself. Okay, it can be siyahah, siyahah in Islam, tourism in Islam. Okay, so when we refer to both every single terms here, okay, you can see that the definitions for musafir from Arabic word from safar, which means traveling. Okay, and this we know that when we travel more than 2 mahalah, so we be able to do the jamak and kasar. Okay, itu musafir. But in the same time, when we're referring to another terms like journey, rihlah, okay, we are referring to the journey in search of knowledge, doing business, for health, perhaps in modern terminology, we are using medical tourism. Okay, and for information, the medical tourism is one of big focus right now currently in OIC itself, on how to develop the medical tourism in OIC countries. So that's another option of research, okay, opportunity in research when we're talking about health. Okay, and also on research, doing research, we do rihlah to do research. Okay, itu dalam rihlah. Okay, and then we have ziarah, we are visiting other holy places. Okay, contohnya to Palestine, okay, to meet religious scholars or participate in religious events and festival. Okay, Hajj and Umrah, we know that we are visiting our journey to holy place in Mecca and Madinah. And siyahah, as I mentioned, is a tourism in English, but in Arabic we are using siyahah, okay, which means to travel, journey, go, wander, roam about, and not to earn money. It's not going to do business. It's not business traveling. Okay, not to work or not to settle there. Okay, it just we are traveling. Okay, we as a tourist. Okay, that I believe that when we are talking about Muslim friendly tourism, so the most appropriate term that in Arabic that we can refer to is a siyahah. Okay, perhaps our friends in Department of Languages is a good opportunity also to look at in these terminologies in detail. Okay, perhaps after that we can have a pure definition of a Muslim friendly tourism or Islamic tourism or halal tourism when referring to these Arabic terminologies. Okay. Okay. So the next section, we are looking at the global tourism market. As I mentioned, this is before pandemic. It's a pre-pandemic, before COVID-19. Okay, before 2019 data. Okay. So just to look at in the overall big picture, our demography in our Earth. Okay, currently we are living together with 7.6 billion people. Okay, and the scientists or the statistician predict that by 2050 there will be another 3 billion people. Okay, and total number during that time perhaps is approximately will be at 10 billion people. Okay, why I'm looking at these numbers, because for me this is the opportunities. Okay, as a human being, we want to travel, we want to visit, we want to walk, to go to another places. Okay, and just imagine with these numbers, with these big numbers like 10 billion of people by 2030 or 2050. Okay, by 2050, this is a big opportunities for tourism. Okay, as we know that before COVID-19, before pandemic, tourism is one of a big industry that given a huge amount of money for GDP for any countries. Okay, when we look at in detail in different countries, we know that number one would be China. It's around 1 billion of people, and we know that in China itself there is numbers of Muslim Chinese. Okay, we are referring to the Muslim population. Lepas ni kita tengok what how many of us as a Muslim. But this is the total numbers of population according to countries like in China, India, USA, Indonesia, and Brazil. These are top 5. Top 5 paling ramai population lah. And as I mentioned, China, there is a Muslim in China, there is a Muslim in India, and Indonesia, yes, is the biggest Muslim countries. Okay, and USA also, there are Muslim in US and also in Brazil. Okay, and other places. Okay, and what they do, these 7 billion people. Okay, if you look at this demography, I think this demography back in 2018, I think, it's not latest. It's not latest numbers ataupun latest statistic. Tapi kalau tengok the population can be divided into this group of people. Okay, there is around 2 billion of people that are too young to work, ages from 0 to 15. Okay, perhaps Dr. Samsul, our expert in marketing and branding, okay, we know that when we are talking about this young generation, like children, okay, below than 15 years old, okay, when we give them a proper marketing tools, a proper branding, insyaAllah they will remember sampai bila-bila. Okay, just imagine during our childhood, saya sendiri lah, my example, that if I want to buy a toothpaste, apa yang saya akan cakap? Apa selalunya kita akan cakap bila kita pergi kedai runcit? Colgate. Okay. And we know that Colgate is one of a brand. It's not a toothpaste. A toothpaste banyak. We have other types of branding, isn't it? But what they have done during our childhood, that Colgate, nak beli toothpaste, you akan beli Colgate. Nak beli Maggi is a brand, isn't it? It's not a type of, it's a noodle, isn't it? It's an instant noodle. Tapi kalau nak beli instant noodle, kita akan beli Maggi. Okay, why? Because they have brand it. And the most important thing that during these years, during the young our childhood, okay, this young generation, especially 15 years old and below. Okay, so how to brand, especially on the tourism part, how to brand the product, how to market the product in terms of tourism, and to tell them if they want to travel, they need to they want to travel to, let's say, Malaysia, to Muslim countries. It is what happening in Korea. Okay, I'm asking my children, okay, kalau ayah ada duit, mana nak bawa, nak jalan mana? And I have 3 children, and 3 of them said that they want to travel to Korea. Okay, kenapa kita nak pergi Korea? During my childhood, I believe that most of us we are being asked during our katakan umur 18 tahun dulu, nak pergi mana? Nak belajar mana? Belajar ke UK, isn't it? Nak belajar ke US. But this young generation currently, they would like to travel to Korea, to live in Korea, to eat Korean food. Why? Because the Korean government has brand their products, their services. Okay, let's say through the music, through television, through movies, drama, K-drama, K-pop, and so on and so forth. They have branded these products, and therefore, apa dia punya tempias to the tourism. Okay, and when our children look at this individual product like through media and so on and so forth, so they itu jadinya bila kita tanya nak pergi mana, nak pergi Korea. Okay, cantik tak cantik, kita ke belakang. I think bila cantik tu cantik lagi Malaysia banding Korea. Okay, so that's what the meaning of proper branding and proper marketing, and especially to these young generations. Okay, the second group of people would be us. Okay, we are working in the services, like we are working in education sector or other types of services. There are 1.7 billion of people working in services industry. Okay, and another 1.4 billion working in agriculture. Okay, 800 million working in the industry. 570 million of people are older than 64. Okay, and this also the next group of people that we need to focus, because when talking about this retired group of people, they have money. Okay, kebanyakan contoh in Malaysia, when they retire at 60, and they have money from their EPF ataupun pension, isn't it? And they want to travel with dengan dia ada duit tu. Okay, itu pun another sectors, another group of people that we need to focus. Okay, and then 430 million are employed, but I think post-pandemic these numbers increased lah, and it's more than 400 million people unemployed. And these 400 million are entrepreneurs. These are the businessmen. So this is another group that we need to focus in order to attract them to travel. And we are talking how to attract people travel to our country, let's say Malaysia. Okay, and I believe that kita sekarang ni semua Malaysian kan, in our group Malaysians. Okay, when training these OIC countries under OIC, especially in third world countries like African countries or some of the Asian countries, ASEAN countries. Okay, especially in African countries, our participant staff ataupun pegawai from the Ministry of Tourism in these countries, okay, they know that they have something, okay, but they do not know how to promote, how to market, how to focus groups of people to travel to the countries. Itu saya nampak is another opportunity for us to focus on in helping, in assisting our Muslim brothers in these Muslim countries. Okay, they have something. Let's say Africa, they have something. They have something. Let's say in Nigeria ke ataupun other places. But how to promote? They don't have that knowledge. Okay, so that's another I think a good opportunity for us to focus on the Muslim countries in order to create this Muslim friendly tourism in these countries. Okay, nanti kita akan tengoklah the Muslim friendly tourism ecosystem afterwards. Okay, as I mentioned, this data is before pandemic, back in 2017, produced by this CESRIC under OIC. Okay, if you look at this graph, it shows that, okay, in terms of worldwide international tourism increased from 900 million in 2011 to 1,235 million in 2016. Okay, but unfortunately because of the pandemic, so the numbers currently turun almost to 20 to 30%. Okay, 20 to 30% decrease numbers of tourism arrival. Okay, and also looking at the continents, okay, Africa, America, Asia, Europe, and Middle East. Okay, on the tourist arrival and tourism receipt. Okay, tourism receipt ni ialah dia punya keuntungan lah, perbelanjaan, and tourist arrival is numbers of tourists. Okay, if you look at this, some of the data, for example, like in Asia, increase from 2011-2016 from 23% to 25%, but decrease in Europe, okay, and also in Middle East. When the arrival decrease or increase, so they akan affect this tourism receipt lah. Okay, lesson learned from this data back in 2017 is that when there is a decreased numbers of tourist arrival or tourism receipt is due to this either economic uncertainty or conflicts and political instability in Middle East region. Okay, I have one question from Africa. Masa tu tak ingat negara mana, Somalia, I think. Okay, they asked me about this insecurity, the security part, the safety. Okay, because they know that tourism is a big industry, and how to attract, they know how to attract. They know they have something, they have a product, but the question is that in terms of security, in terms of safety, bila cakap tentang negara berperang, macam mana, how to handle, okay, on health and safety of the tourists, on the security part of the tourists, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I mentioned to OIC during that time, and also MOTEC under Ministry of Tourism Malaysia. There is one officer from MOTEC. Okay, and I told them that, okay, this is good opportunities for us as a researcher. Okay, in order to come out with not the single solutions, but at least to come out with a appraisal matrix, a scorecard. Okay, to assist especially OIC. Okay, for information, or under OIC there is some organizations under OIC like COMSEC, there is a SESRIC, there is a ICDT. Okay, ICDT is the office of like our matrix kan, on trade. SESRIC ni lebih kepada organization for statistic, okay, data, and COMSEC is a funder under OIC. Okay, when talking about this data, so perhaps we can further discuss with SESRIC to come out with a proper tools to assess the security, the health, and the safety in tourism industry in OIC countries. So at the end, it will assist OIC to rank the OIC countries yang mana selamat, mana tak selamat, contohnya. And the most important thing is that to assist these Muslim countries, kalau katakan tak selamat, how to do, how to overcome in terms of health, safety, and security in tourism industry in that countries. Okay, so means that we need to have data. We need to assist the OIC to come out with a tool to collect the data. Okay, and SESRIC will use the data to come out with a proper report. Okay, so that I think is another opportunity for us to do research and to, let's say, to liaise with this OIC organizations like SESRIC or ICDT. Okay. So these are international tourist arrivals by region, as I mentioned. Okay, referring to 2011, 14, and 16 before pandemic. Okay, another second lesson learned from this report. Okay, if you look at these Africa countries, okay, a smaller share in world in terms of tourist arrival and receipt. Okay, they just receive only arrival less than 5%, and the receipt also less than 3%. Okay, less than 3% of a tourism receipt. Okay, so they need to find ways on how to boost receipt from tourism through the diversifying tourism activities. Itu saya terkejut lah. Back in 2000, I think 2017 or 2018, I went to Turkey, to Malatya, okay, to train almost 30 Muslim countries, which include most of it from Africa countries. Okay, we went to Malatya for 5 days training. Okay, and one of the question from the participant is that they do not know what are the products available in their own country. So from the report, from the report, they do not know how to diversify the tourism activities or tourism products in their country. They do not know that, oh, beach pun, a mountain, if they have mountain, they can diversify, they can develop it as a tourism product. Like in Malaysia, everything, kat Malaysia ni everything, sampaikan orang kata apa, murtabak cheese pun boleh jadi tourism product, isn't it? And so we take these opportunities, but in these third world countries, they don't have this knowledge. Okay, because of that, usually when we're talking about tourism, we are talking about Muslim friendly. OIC will refer to Malaysia, because Malaysia is #1 in terms of providing this, developing this Muslim friendly tourism sector. Okay. Okay, and lesson number 3 in economic hard times, masuk kita lah, international tourists ni typically do not react so much by refraining from travel, but by trading down during the economic hard times. Contohnya, dia akan shorten the stays in less expensive destination closer to home. Kan? Contohnya kalau kita pun, kalau economic down hard times, perhaps we will travel to, let's say, to Indonesia or to Thailand, okay, instead of traveling to Europe or to other countries. Okay, with travel and accommodation in lower categories. Okay, this report, as I mentioned, back in 2017, and there is another report early this year, I think. OIC through CESRIC have come out with a report in tourism post pandemic COVID-19. And kalau siapa nak, nanti boleh, I can share you with this report. Okay, and lesson learned from the reports, a lesson learned from the what happened during the COVID-19. Okay, itu latest report. Okay, so these are tourism receipt, international tourism receipt. Okay, factors of considerations is length of stay, purpose of a visit, geographical distance, and value-added tourism product and services. Okay, I believe that our friends, our colleague in tourism DOT know better about this. These are the factors, okay, in order for us to increase the tourism receipt. Okay, so these are the consideration. How to, let's say, length of stay. Instead of they are traveling here for 3 days, so perhaps they can make it longer. Let's say how to retain them for, let's say, 1 week instead of 3 days. How to retain. Okay, bila dia duduk lama kat sini, dia akan belanja banyak lah. Itu logiknya. Okay, purpose of visit, apa dia? Some of them just to is a pull and push factors. Okay, pull and push factors. Crompton's kan, Crompton's teori. Okay, dia punya motivation to visit, apa purpose to visit. As I mentioned, one of big opportunities currently is medical tourism. Okay, especially after pandemic ni pun, we're talking about health. These are medical tourism. Okay, one of the purpose of visit that we can develop, and Malaysia has developed it. Malaysia number 1 in medical tourism. Geographical distance. We're talking about connectivity. Okay, I'm sharing experience when I'm traveling to Cocos Island. Tahu kan Cocos Island di mana kan? Cocos Island in a Hindi island, Hindi Sea, kan lautan Hindi tu. Dia di bawah pulau Sumatra. Okay, Cocos Island is a very small island, tapi dia adalah Australian, under Australia. It's an Australian. Okay, when we travel to Cocos Island, it takes us about 2 days, 2 hari untuk sampai from Malaysia to Perth, and we need to stay in Perth for 1 night. Esoknya baru travel to Cocos Island. Okay, we went there to assist our brother there, kita punya koperasi Cocos Island, koperasi Melayu Cocos, in order for them to develop the Muslim-friendly tourism. Okay, when from our experience, when we do the visits, one of I think big threat ataupun bukan threat lah, weakness is on the connectivity, because as I mentioned, it takes us about 2 days to be there. Tapi infrastructure cantik. Okay, there is there are 2 resorts in West Island. Dia ada lapangan terbang kecil, taklah kecil macam mana pun, Airbus boleh turun. Okay, Asia punya ni boleh turun, kita naik Virgin boleh turun. Okay, but the problem ialah in terms of connectivity, and most of our Muslim countries under OIC, they're talking problemnya with the connectivity. Okay, so perhaps that's another thing that we can discuss further for research opportunity in terms of connectivity. Okay, and then value-added tourism products and services. As I mentioned, how to diversify the tourism product, how to develop, how to create new tourism products, innovative. Currently, there's a new term in this area that in Europe they come up with the term creative tourism. Creative tourism. Jadi, how to be more creative in tourism, perhaps. There are some case study in Europe, in European countries, when they use this creative tourism as a sub product ataupun is a tourism product. Okay. Okay, this the travel gold rush 2020, but unfortunately, it is not happen. Okay. Due to the pandemic. This is all data. Ini yang di predict by 2020. It's a gold rush during 2020. Unfortunately, 2020 kita lockdown MCO. Okay. Okay. The impact of this tourism industry to other industries. Okay, especially to the construction industry. As Dr. Sawa mentioned, I'm from KAID, from Kuliah of Architecture Environmental Design, especially for Department of Quantity Surveying, and our Dean, Prof. Razak, from Department of Architecture. We are talking about physical. Okay, so it's when we create the tourism industry, automatically construction industry will be involved. Okay, for example, like designing, constructing, and operating the hotels, the accommodations, the restaurants, the building itself, the physical buildings. Okay, so that's the impact to the construction industry. Impacts to the halal food and beverage industry from our friends in HUD, from halal industry. Okay, when we travel, we want to eat, isn't it? Kita nak makan, kita nak minum. So automatically there will be boost in halal food and beverages industries. Okay. I will give an example in Taiwan. When we traveled to Taiwan back in 2017, I believe. Okay, during that time, in 2017, it's very hard for us to find halal food, especially in Taipei and in Kaohsiung. Taipei di utara, Kaohsiung di selatan lah. Kaohsiung ni just like a JB. Okay, it's a pelabuhan. Okay, during that time, 2017. But when the government, Taiwan government, developed this Muslim-friendly tourism in Taiwan, so in 2018 or 2019, bila kita pergi balik, kita every year we went there in Taiwan. We assist the Taiwanese government to develop this Muslim friendly tourism. And a year after, alhamdulillah, there's a lot of halal food available. Okay, jadi kita sebagai traveler, sebagai turis, kita pergi situ ada makanan kita nak makan. You just imagine back in 2017, as I mentioned, kita sarapan pagi pun just sarapan telur. Masa tu telur murah lagi lah, tak mahal macam sekarang kan. Boleh makan 2 biji telur dan kacang tanah je. In hotel during that time, because yang tu je halal. Yang lain semua campur-campur, daging tu kita dah pening lah kan. Tapi sekarang ni if you go to Taiwan, to some of the hotels that we have certified as a Muslim friendly hotel, so the food is available. Okay, the halal food available, not only in hotels but in other places. Okay, in the tourist, especially in the tourist area. Okay, then accommodation industry, hotels, as I mentioned. Okay, transportation industry in terms of connectivities, and also the manufacturing industry, directly or indirectly. Okay, for example, like when the country develop the Muslim friendly tourism, so they need to develop the halal food and beverages industry. Therefore, automatically it will affect the manufacturing industries. Okay, so these are some of the industry that impacted by the tourism industry. Sebab itulah tourism industry, I believe that is a very important industry in every countries, because when they open up the countries to the tourists to travel in the country, so automatically it will give impact to other industries. The impact. So itulah kalau when we look back in pandemic COVID-19, the theory is like dia panggil apa? Dia panggil apa tu? Alamak lupa dah. Industri yang paling impact due to the COVID-19 pandemic is number 1 is tourism industry. Nombor 1. Bila dia tumbang ya, yang lain semua akan tumbang. Okay, yang lain semua tumbang. Itu menunjukkan tourism industry at the is a front liner of the industries, other industries. Okay. Okay. If you want to, I think to have any Q&A, I open up for any question, even though Dr. Sawa mentioned that Q&A in afterwards kan, from 12:30, 12:15, 12:30 onwards kan. Tapi kalau ada soalan ke atau apa nak ni, just you can
I have a question.
okay, Dr.
You were saying about African countries not knowing how to make use of their product. I find that very I find that very weird, but I assume it is true. But I think, what is the cause of them not knowing what to do? I think that is basic marketing, don't you think?
Yes. Ya, betul. Saya pun terkejut, Dr. Sam. Because the participant is coming from the Ministry of Tourism in the country. So my assumption is that perhaps they don't have the knowledge, tapi mustahil lah, because it's an officer an officer from officer from Ministry of Tourism. Itu yang pelik kan? Either dia tak ada knowledge, or perhaps tak tahulah, maybe knowledge in term of marketing ke, branding ke, I do not know.
Do you think that because they put people without the right qualification for those positions, or due to lack of funds, or what do you think?
Yeah. I think from my experience with these countries is that number 1 is lack of fund. Some of the countries said to me that, yeah, we know we have something, but we don't have fund. So I mentioned to them, okay, why not you collaborate with private entities. You can use a PFI, private finance initiative, or PPP. Okay, but the question is that they do not know what is PFI, what PPP. So back to knowledge. So as I have mentioned it to OIC last year, and this year they come up with a proper training on branding and marketing to assist these countries on how to brand, how to market, the most important thing is that the first thing first is how to develop the product itself.
Knowing what you have in your basket.
Yep.
Very interesting. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah,
I can
a
see.
lot of opportunities. Yeah, betul. Sebab tu saya kata ni is kita tak boleh tengok benda ni sebagai masalah. We are looking at this as an opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sam. Okay, other questions before I continue with another section on OIC tourism market. Okay, kalau tak ada, we zoom into OIC. Tadi is a global tourism market. So right now we are looking at the Prof.
Nak tanya sikit. Okay, with the definition tadi, okay, because you are mentioning about the 3 definition tadi kan?
Yeah.
Okay, either is actually Muslim friendly tourism ke, Islamic tourism ke, which one that you are actually prefer if we are looking into commercial punya kata orang definitions?
Yes. Thank you, Prof. As I mentioned, I prefer to use Muslim friendly tourism. It's more friendly. Right, it's more friendly and maybe Dr. Sam kan boleh bantu saya. Is more on kata term tu dia lebih panggil apa? Is marketable, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. It's not like shoving ideas down your throat lah, I think.
Yeah. When we talk about Islamic tourism ni is more orang bukan Islam pun takut tak? The Islamophobia that term. But looking at either Muslim friendly, Islamic or halal, the basic is same. We are looking at on the Sharia compliance. But how we term it. Tapi kalau Prof tanya saya, I'm lebih pada Muslim friendly tourism.
Yelah, I think because Muslim is referring to the person kan.
Yes.
Islam is referring more to the religion.
Yes.
So I think betul lah. I do agree also. If the term is actually mostly on the Muslim, if you comply for the Muslim, mean the person of the tourist to person tu, maybe other person also can comply because mostly as a Muslim kita selalu melebihi keperluan yang bukan Muslim kan, because mostly if the Muslim boleh, non-Muslim lagilah boleh juga kan. I think that is his most commercial thing that we be able to define it.
Betul Prof. Betul.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you Prof. Kalau saya tambah satu lagi, halal tourism for me is halal is a consumable that we can consume, we can use. Like we can eat, we can drink, we can use as cosmetic and so on so forth. But they're using halal as a tourism. Saya pelik sikit lah, especially in Indonesia, they're using halal tourism. but again, tourism is all halal. Macam kita lah dalam dunia ni, everything in this world is actually halal. The one that we make it halal or non-halal is the person. So yes, setuju Prof cakap tu is a person, and we are referring to the Muslim tu as a person. Kalau macam Prof cakap tadi lah, kalau kita boleh makan, apatah lagi orang lain tu boleh makan. Kita tak boleh makan dia punya kan, tapi dia boleh makan kita, makanan kita tak ada masalah, no problem. Thank you Prof.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you Prof. Okay, so kalau tak ada, so can I continue with the OIC tourism tourism market? Okay, so we are zoom into the OIC countries. Okay, to the very specific sector. Okay, so these are the 7 key drivers of Muslim travel market growth. Okay, produced by the Christian Rating back in 2018. Okay, so from their research, they found that these 7 key drivers of the Muslim travel market growth, dia tengah berkembang. This Muslim travel market growth due to this reason. One of it is because of the population numbers, as I mentioned. numbers of growing Muslim population right now. There is approximately 1 to 1.7 billions of Muslim currently. Okay, jadi numbers of Muslim population. And also the most important thing is that growing middle class during the in this Muslim population. Middle class means that maybe perhaps in our definition M40 and above lah. M40 and T20 is a middle class banyak. Okay, makin ramai, especially in Malaysia, from Indonesia, from China, and from Arabic countries, UAE. Okay, younger population from 1.7 billion ni, younger population masih besar numbers of younger population. They are traveling. Okay, dia ada power untuk travel. Okay, and due to that, the technology increasing access to travel information through the apps, through internet, okay, to websites and so on. Okay, because of younger population and they're being attached with these current technologies and easier for them to travel because it's easier for them to access to the travel information. Saya ingat lagi zaman kita dulu lah, mak ayah saya, when we are traveling to other country, perhaps contohnya masa tu nak pergi mana tak ingat, kena pergi ke travel agent, nak beli tiket, nak beli tiket mas kena pergi travel agent 3 hari sebelum, seminggu sebelum maksudnya kan. Travel agent tu lah yang akan belikan tiket, kemudian dia akan setkan kita punya hotel and so on so forth. You just imagine sekarang everything is in the phone. Kan student saya ujung semester je, macam semester pendek ni hilang dia orang. Gimana? Travel, backpackers and so on so forth, because they easier for them to access through the phone. Okay, nak beli semua kita tahulah mudah, kan, mudah. So that's one of the, I think, the big key drivers. Okay, impact from the technology. Okay, and then the increasing availability of Muslim-friendly travel services and facilities in countries. As I mentioned, in Taiwan, for contohnya, okay, issue in Taiwan. I give some historical background of Taiwan, how they developed the Muslim-friendly tourism in Taiwan. Is due to the crisis between Taiwan and China back in 2017. Okay, because Taiwan dia bukan negara merdeka, tapi dia macam mana? Dia tergantung tak? China tak iktiraf Taiwan as an independent country. But in the same time, Taiwan can be governed by themselves. Tapi during that time, the president of Taiwan masa tu dia kata, we want to declare we are independent country. Jadi bila dia declare macam tu, China marahlah, Beijing marah. So dia kata okay, dia tutup pintu. Sebelum ni tourists from China travelling to Taiwan. So kosong. So dia kosong. Dia kata okay, how to attract other types of tourists to come to Taiwan. So we went there. We have a meeting with the minister in Taiwan during that time, Ministry of saya tak ingat, macam market lah, perindustrian kan. We told them that okay, if you want to attract Muslim to travel to your country, so first thing first, you need to develop infrastructures, to develop the services which can attract Muslim to come to your country. In terms of what? In terms of providing food, halal food, in terms of providing a proper accommodations according to us. Saya kata bukan we don't want to have a red carpet. Tapi very very basic needs of a Muslim, as I mentioned lah. Okay, kita nak makan, kita nak duduk ada tempat semayang, tak perlu buat masjid pun. Kan? Tapi ada tempat untuk solat and so on so forth. Okay, so therefore they develop this the infrastructure, they develop the services according to the Muslim needs. So sekarang ni Taiwan is one of non-Muslim countries yang can attract numbers of Muslim traveller selain daripada Japan and Korea. Okay, Taiwan is apa ni, dia tengah ni lah, dia tengah berlawan with Japan and Taiwan and Korea. Okay, because the availability of Muslim friendly travel services and facilities. Okay, and then Ramadan travel, ini pun is a product by itself. Okay, especially in Malaysia, in Turkey, and also in Indonesia and Singapore pun lah. Okay, during Ramadan, so most of not only Muslim but non-Muslim also traveling to these Muslim countries just to have an experience together with local masa nak buka puasa tu. Dia nak rasa that experience. Okay, during Ramadan. It's a product by itself, as I mentioned. Okay, and the business travel lah, because due to this growing middle class, the business group, so they are traveling for business, and we know that business travel also is a one of a motivation, is a push factor for the tourism, isn't it? Okay, it's part of tourism lah. Okay, so global needs, this is numbers of Muslim, as I mentioned, around 1.7 billions of Muslim around the world, and China, 3% of 1.3 billion population are Muslims, especially in Xi'an, yang tengah-tengah tu, ataupun in Xinjiang, Urumqi, Xinjiang China ni ada Urumqi kan, and other places, tapi yang paling ramai di tengah lah, area Xi'an and so on. Okay, so and they are Muslims and they have money, and these are the growing middle class. Okay, in China, in the Middle East, kita tahu lah, Middle East, UAE and so on, Europe. Okay, and Muslim is population increasing. US around 1% from 300 million. In Southeast Asia, there are 500 million population. 50% are Muslims in our country, in Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, Thailand. Okay, Central Asia, like in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, they are Muslim 100%, and also in Africa, 40% are Muslim from 1 billion populations. Okay, so these are the opportunities. These are our brothers and sisters which are traveling. And therefore, we need to take this opportunity to attract them, not only to travel to Malaysia, but also to travel intra-OIC countries. Okay, itu dia punya terms being used in OIC. They're using this term, intra-OIC tourism. Okay, and their aim is on how to increase the traveling between OIC countries, because the numbers is not mentioning about this. Okay, numbers of traveler, contohnya Malaysia, from Malaysia sendiri lah. When kita tanya kawan-kawan kita, tanya diri saya sendiri lah, do you want to travel to Muslim countries in Africa? If you have an opportunity to travel to, let's say, Europe or to Korea or Japan, ada tak? Ada tak kita nak pergi ke Afrika? Nak. Mungkin Dr. Sam je lah nak pergi. Others, mungkin kita fikir 2-3 kali lah. If you have an opportunity, okay, you have an option. Either you want to nak pergi travel to Africa or to other countries, non-Muslim countries. Logically, kita akan pergi yang more developed countries lah. Kita nak pergi Paris, kita nak pergi Korea, nak pergi tempat lain lah. Tapi tak ramai kita nak pergi these Muslim countries, especially the third world countries. Okay, so as I mentioned, these are the aim of OIC through ICBT and SESRIC is to increase the intra-OIC traveling, intra-OIC tourism. Okay, but back to basic balik yang saya cakap tadi. Problem with us, with these Muslim countries, OIC countries, the third world countries. Okay, and how to develop this. My experience, I'm traveling to this Suriname. Suriname ni kat sini. Suriname. Boleh nampak Suriname in South America. South America is a OIC countries. OIC countries, there are approximately 57 countries sekarang ni, 57 negara. Okay, there are 2 countries in South America, Guyana and Suriname. Okay, pernah tak kita nak pergi ke Suriname dan Guyana? Ini semua Muslim countries ni. Kan? Ada reason lah. One reason because the connectivity. Another reason is because they do not know how to brand, to market themselves as a tourist destination. Malaysia pun jauh. If you look at the Malaysia ni jauh from other parts of the world, but we can attract millions of people traveling to us, to Malaysia, because we develop our countries, we develop our services, infrastructures. And bila kita pergi ke Guyana, Suriname itu, kita cakap sama kepada to the Ministry of Tourism. You have something. For information, Suriname is there are 5 races. There ada Melayu, Jawa, they have Chinese, Indian, they have Jews, and they have African. Dan bila turun ke sana Suriname ni, saya turun ibu negara dia Paramaribo, turun dekat dia punya airport, is just like from airport to Paramaribo tu, the city, it's just like travelling in Johor. Dia punya kampung dia parik, kampung Jawa memang Jawa pun situ, and they have masjid, they have bila masuk pekan Cina macam kita, pekan Yongping ke apa semua, Chinese city kan, Chinese pekan Cina tu, itu sama. So it can attract us if you want to travel to this Suriname, for example, from Malaysia to Suriname, is one of the tourist attraction is that you just imagine di sebelah sana bumi ni, you can have same situation as in our region, in ASEAN, in Malaysia or this ASEAN countries lah, tapi di seberang sana. So you can, I told this ministry, so you can attract us to go there, but your problem is that you do not know how to market, to brand, to market, and the most important thing is to develop the tourism products. The connectivity tu cerita lain lah. When you travel to there, today you need to travel from Malaysia to Amsterdam, and then from Amsterdam pergi ke situ. Tapi tu secondary lah. You can travel to US, sama jauh juga. Tapi kenapa you tak nak travel to these countries? Okay. So these are the opportunities. Okay, Dr. Sawa, I have another how many minutes for the first session? Until 10:45, isn't it? Betul tak? Okay, so I can continue just for another 10 minutes. Okay, so these are global needs. As I mentioned, the numbers. Okay, the numbers of Muslim population globally, we have around 1.7 billion. In OIC country itself, these countries, 57 countries, we have around 1.1 billion of people. In ASEAN countries, our regions, we have around 255 million, and other nations, these are not under OIC countries, 350 million, especially from China, from India, and some other parts of the world. Okay. So when talking about this international tourism in OIC countries, it shows, this graph shows the increase in terms of arrival and receipt back in 2011 to 2015. Okay, increased from 160 from 2011 arrivals to 173 millions of people. Okay, traveling to these OIC countries, and top 10 tourist destination back in 2017, Turkey. In terms of arrival and receipt, okay, Turkey is number 1, Malaysia is second country lah. receive these numbers of arrivals and receipt. Okay, and altogether tourism receipt in OIC countries or in Muslim countries around $121 billion. Okay, and 87% of the total OIC tourism receipt. Okay, and contribution to the international tourism the economy, referring to this graph, it shows the OIC countries compared to the world tourism. Okay, world tourism means that other together with OIC and non-OIC countries. Okay, and dia increase juga lah walaupun tak banyak, increase from 2012 to 2018 in terms of employment and the contribution to GDP. Okay, taklah banyak sangat, 7.9 to 8.7. Okay, in OIC countries. So these are opportunities, and this is opportunities on how to assist our Muslim brothers in Muslim countries to increase the tourism sectors in their countries. Okay, as I mentioned, these are intra-OIC tourism. Okay, intra-OIC tourism is a good indicator to assess the level of economic integration among the OIC countries. As I mentioned, OIC is trying to develop this integration in terms of travelling between OIC countries. Malaysia to Turkey, selalunya orang Malaysia akan pergi Turkey lah. Kita tak pergi ke tempat to Afrika jarang. Kalau tak bekerja, tak ada kerja, tak pergi punya. Except Dr. Sam ya akan pergi ke Afrika kan. Okay. Okay, and this is mana dia? 2015. Okay, this top 10 OIC tourist destination and tourism earners in 2015. Okay. In terms of share of intra-OIC arrivals as a percentage of total tourist arrival in 2015, Iran number 1, Malaysia mana? Tak ada Malaysia. Okay, tak apalah. Okay, yang ni I would like to show this the latest number. Okay, the latest report back in last year 2021 from this global Islamic economic report. Number 1 is Malaysia. Malaysia is listed first place in terms of providing the best Muslim-friendly travel environment compared to Turkey. Turkey nombor 3. And kalau back in 2017-18 report from the same report, but in 2018 Malaysia still number 1, and number 2 masa tu ialah UAE, nombor 3 Turkey juga, nombor 4 Malaysia Indonesia. Okay, dan latest report Indonesia jatuh nombor 6 lah. Thailand is non-Muslim country. Thailand is non-Muslim country. Tapi dia can provide this Muslim-friendly travel. And dia terkejut jugalah bila tengok dia jadi nombor 4 compared to other Muslim country like Indonesia. Singapore pun ada kat sini. It's non-Muslim countries. Itu mana kenapa? Because of the numbers, because of the, as I mentioned, the motivation factor, the economic motivation factor. Okay, they would like to try to provide these Muslim friendly services and products to the tourism, to the tourists. Okay, according to another report from COMSEC, these are the factors that influence choice of Muslim tourists when they are traveling. Okay, either extremely important to not important. Okay, and they have listed these factors like Muslim-friendly tourism services, the total cost of traveling, friendliness of locals, Islamic heritage sites, children attractions, cultural attraction, beach or water activities, geographical proximity, and sport activities. Okay, and we can see from this a figure that the most extremely important that can influence us as a Muslim to travel to a country is because of the availability of Muslim-friendly tourism services. Okay, compared to other, total cost tu ialah antara juga lah, nak tengok paling mahal buat pun nak pergi tempat mahal, pergi tempat murah sikit kan. Tapi it shows that it's important to develop these Muslim-friendly tourism services. Okay, as a very extremely important of a factor, okay, to influence the kita nak travel. Okay, so these are some of the challenges and opportunities in terms of intra-OIC tourism. Okay, challenges is that there's a lack of unified and global standards and certification. I've shown you the MS 2610, MS 2610, Muslim-friendly hospitality developed by DSM, Department of Standard Malaysia. Okay, but in the same time, OIC also come up with the standard, SMIC standard. Okay, itu they take these challenges and this opportunity for them to develop, and they have developed it. At least they have not only MS 2610, the first MS, the first standard on the Muslim-friendly tourism or services been developed by any standard organizations from Malaysia. Malaysia number one. Okay, lepas tu Ministry ataupun OIC think that okay, we need to have our own global standard. So therefore they come up with the SMIC standard. Okay, referring to our standard balik. Okay, these are because they take these challenges as an opportunity. And the financial constraint, as I mentioned, example in some of the countries in Africa, as I mentioned, the financial constraint, they want to develop the travel, the tourism product, the services, but due to the financial, the funding. Okay, gender pun is some of the challenges, especially in African countries. We're talking about male and female. Okay, in industry. In Malaysia, okay lah, alhamdulillah, apa ni kita dah hampir stable. Okay, differences in the influence of Islamic values and beliefs. So this is another challenges. We're talking about 57 countries, Muslim countries. We have 4 mazhabs in it. When we go to China, lain mazhab dia. Dia apa? Hanbali, I think. Okay, bila pergi Iraq ataupun Turkey, lain pula mazhab dia. Tapi itu challenges and it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to how to close the gap because on this difference of values and beliefs. Dan juga satu bagi saya it's a good product sebenarnya. Even though there's a differences, okay, in terms of values, but for me I think it's a good opportunity. It's a good tourism product. For example, like if you want to know about local belief, even though they are Islam, they are Muslim, tapi local belief dia mungkin macam ni, mazhab dia begini, kita nak pergi travel to that place because you want to know better. We want to know more about their belief, their local culture in terms of Islamic belief. Contohnya lah kan. Itu walaupun challenge tapi it's an opportunity. Okay, what are the opportunities in terms of this is Islamic tourism potential for economic growth. We are talking about innovative tourism product. As I mentioned, the new term is creative tourism and the social media. Itu yang paling penting. And kita kena take these opportunities, take this technology as an opportunity. Okay, so I think I stop here for a while for 50 minutes, I believe, Dr. Salwa. Betul tak? Okay, and for break and afterward we will discuss more on this the rest of the topics. Okay, back to Dr. Salwa.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Shakirin. Going to stop for 15 minutes. Inshallah, we're going to meet again at 11. So everyone can do some stretching, or you have any inquiry, question, you might. I think this is interesting sharing for everyone. Okay, we meet again at 11, inshallah.
Okay, thank you.
like to contextualize this meeting today is what we call celebrating IIM 2020.
Hari ini, Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan dilaksana di seluruh negara bagi mengekang penularan COVID-19.
Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan mulai 18 Mac 2020 iaitu lusa hingga 31 Mac 2020 di seluruh negara.
Let me reassure you, as far as I am concerned, the situation in the university is well under control.
Universiti Islam Antarabangsa Malaysia UIAM menghasilkan prototipe robot yang boleh membantu doktor berdepan dengan pesakit dengan membuat saringan dari jarak jauh. Robot yang diberi nama Medibot dibangunkan pakar robotik kuliah kejuruteraan dan kuliah teknologi maklumat komunikasi. Dilengkapi alat kawalan jauh bervisual, doktor berinteraksi dengan pesakit tanpa perlu bersemuka. Pasukan khas ini terdiri daripada pencarah, pentadbir dan pelajar yang tinggal dan menginap di kampus Gombak. PPE yang dihasilkan akan dihantar ke Pusat Perubatan UIAM di Kuantan Pahang dan lain-lain hospital yang akan dikenalpasti oleh Malaysian Relief Agency MRA.
Sementara itu, Universiti Islam Antarabangsa Malaysia UIAM mencatat sejarah sebagai institusi pengajian tinggi pertama di negara ini tersenarai sebagai finalis untuk 2 penganugerahan lestari antarabangsa. 2 anugerah itu adalah anugerah Green Gown antarabangsa dalam kategori institusi lestari terbaik dunia dan anugerah memanfaatkan masyarakat menerusi program Light.
Change the stereotype image of Islam and Muslims in the world.
Anugerah ini merupakan pengiktirafan bagi universiti untuk membuat satu perubahan atas kepakaran yang telah diiktiraf oleh bangsa-bangsa bersatu dalam hal ini.
kit yang kami hasilkan atau kit kami ialah kit pantas atau kita panggil rapid test kit menggunakan teknologi iaitu nanoteknologi.
Thank you once again, and I look forward to working with you closely for the year 21, 22 and beyond, and I hope we can come together in a more cohesive way after this when we start looking at the roadmap 2021 to 2022 and also taking other initiatives like the Sejahtera Academic Framework and other things that will come by as we move forward in trying to understand what the future will be like. In the last 2 years, we have been trying to manage to change the university into a university that is truly international and sustainable. In this way, we are able to move as much as possible nature of education for the future by changing not only the structure of the university, but also the knowledge base as far as the university is concerned. In other words, IIUM is moving into a whole institutional transformation, taking with it the national education philosophy, sustainable development goals, United Nations 4 pillars of learning, and other very important foundation as far as the university is concerned.
Among the things we do to transform IUM as a sustainability institution was to rename some of the offices and centers to suit their functions to promote sustainability agendas such as responsible research, student development, community engagement, and knowledge for change. We also introduced holacratic leadership and management, where everyone in the campus is empowered and entrusted to carry out their sustainability initiatives.
Within a year, the impact of 29 flagship projects created could clearly be seen in 5 areas. First, the breaking down of academic administrative silos in a transformational way. 2, the building of voluntary teams and teamwork across the academic structure based on shared aspirations. 3, allowing for greater creativity and social innovation in translating SDGs into local context. 4, enhancing community engagement in co-problem solving based on SDG. And lastly, capturing data and information to be transformed into knowledge and wisdom.
The formal classroom education is now linked to our co-curricular activities, which give more meanings to our community engagement project.
Okay, welcome back everyone to second session of Halal and Muslim Friendly Lecture Series 2022 with the topic of what is Muslim Friendly Ecosystem and where to position ourselves. With us today is Dr. Shakirin, going to continue the second slot. Dr. Shakirin, are you there? Dr. Shakirin tengah baca air kopi lagi ke? We're going to wait for our speaker. Welcome back, Dr. Shakirin.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, over to you.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Okay. I would like to continue with the next sections. Okay, just to recap back what we have discussed in the first half of webinar. We are looking at the definition, some of the definitions, and also Dr. Samsul mentioned about the Sharia tourism. Okay, Sharia tourism in other terms. Okay. Then the global tourism market, okay, on the tourism arrival and receipt. And then we focus on the OIC tourism market. As I mentioned, the term being used is intra-OIC tourism, okay, and how to increase the traveling between OIC countries. So that's the aim of one of the aim of OIC currently. Okay, now we try to focus on the Malaysian market, on local tourism market, and then inshallah the most important thing is to discuss on the Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem afterwards. Okay, and this is an old data, all figures back in 2000, I think, 2017, I think, this report, okay, mentioned through the halal travel indicator, mentioned about the three countries, the top 3 countries providing this either it's halal travel or the Muslim-friendly tourism indicator. Malaysia number 1, as I mentioned before. Okay, still Malaysia number 1 for the last 5 to 6 years. Okay, and this is a total global market in 2013. It's all numbers lah, especially the potential during that time in 2019. Tapi due to the pandemic, so the market is declining. Okay, declined. Okay, they are talking about these numbers: 1,212 billion total global market. And the potential in 2019 is around $238 billion. Okay, so the point here is that when we're talking about providing this Muslim-friendly tourism, ataupun halal tourism, ataupun Islamic tourism or Sharia tourism, the tourism itself, the motivation, okay, the motivation for the countries to come up with this or to develop the Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem in their country is due to this motivation. Okay, they are providing the numbers of dollars in terms of a GDP to the country. Okay, so back in 2016, the tourism market in Malaysia, we received around more than 20 million people, 20 million tourists. And receive around 82 billion ringgit, okay, on the tourist receipt, and average per capita expenditure is around 3,000 ringgit. Itu maksud dia pening the tourist belanja, pening expand the expenditure of a tourist is around 3,000 ringgit. Okay, with average length of stay is around 6 nights ataupun 6 malam ataupun seminggu lah. So how to increase this is that we need to increase the numbers of tourists, therefore, and also to increase the length of stay. And bila lagi lama, lagi banyaklah dia akan belanja. Itu the theory behind it lah. Okay, but as I mentioned, these are old numbers in 2016 and 2019. I think it has increased, but slightly decreased in early 2020 onwards. Okay, especially due to the pandemic. Okay, so these are some of the arrival from these regions of countries. We receive Muslim tourists, most of it from the ASEAN countries. Okay, compared to other countries like East Asia countries, South Asia, and so on. Okay, and from here we know that the opportunities is from ASEAN countries, from our neighboring countries, but at the same time, on how to increase from other types of countries, okay, like East Asia and other countries like Europe. Okay, so we need to attract more tourists from these other regions of countries. Okay, and this top 5 tourist arrival from OIC countries to Malaysia most of it from Indonesia, okay, from other Pakistan, Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia, and Brunei, and it's a top 5 travel spenders in Malaysia. Most of it from Saudi Arabia lah, because they have money. They have money and they travel here with money and with family. Okay, compared to other countries. Okay, so before going to the Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem, we need to know what are the individual needs. And as a Muslim, we know that these are three category of needs as a Muslim to travel to other places. Okay, and usually I will mention about these basic needs as a Muslim traveler to our counterpart especially in the non-Muslim countries like as I mentioned, in Taiwan and Korea and China. Okay, and I mentioned to them that as a Muslim traveler, we don't want you to prepare with red carpet. Bukan ada red carpet, tapi very basic 3 basic needs that you need to develop and to offer to us. Okay, the first one is that we need to have a hygiene and safe accommodation like hotels, resort, and so on and so forth. And basically, I think it's a rule of thumb of any hotels, any accommodation premises, that they need to provide this safe accommodation and hygiene accommodation. But when we're talking about a Muslim need, is beyond than that a little bit. Okay, a little bit in terms of what? In terms of if we were talking about hygiene, we are talking about to provide the prayer room or place. Okay, in a hotel, bukan semestinya you need to provide with a musola, surau. Kalau ada lebih cantik lah, saya cakap kat diorang. If you have a opportunity to provide us with a mosque, masjid, lagi bagus, lagi cantik. Tapi no need. Okay, no need. Just prepare us with a prayer space in a hotel, for example. We are talking about accommodation. Therefore, it will be more hygienic place for us to pray. Itu the logic behind it. Okay, and another thing is when we're talking about hygiene accommodation also, when we're talking about accommodation, the hotel, for example, not only the room, but the most important thing is the toilet. Okay, a toilet. Kita tahu, kita as a Muslim, we know that when we enter a toilet, the most important thing in a toilet is that water, providing water tap ataupun bidet ataupun water hose for us to use. Okay, perhaps you have your own experience or experiences when traveling in the non-Muslim countries. Okay, for those perhaps pernah belajar di overseas, I think that's a most crucial, critical thing lah when we are entering a toilet, a public toilet ataupun a toilet in a premise. Di mana toilet dia bersih. Let's say in Korea, when you're traveling in Korea, toilet dia very, very clean, very, very bersih lah. But they are not providing us with a basic need for us to use, water. Bila saya tegang tu benda ni to our counterpart in especially in these non-Muslim countries, dia kata kenapa you need to use water? Saya beritahu lah, as a Muslim we need to use water for this and so on and so forth. And the issue with water, according to them, is that they will make the toilet nampak macam tak hygiene, nampak bersepah dengan air. It's a watery, isn't it? Wet. So what happened in Japan? They come up with this innovation with toilets. Okay, if you want to use water, so the water tap is embedded in dekat dia punya WC, water closet dia tu. And Korea also lesson learned from Japan in order for them to increase the numbers of Muslim tourists to to go to their place, so they provide with these solutions. Okay, jadi tak semestinya with water hose, di mana when you use water hose, so perhaps the as I mentioned, the problem with the toilet, dia nampak macam tak hygiene lah, dia nampak air tu bertakung and so on. So there is an innovation on that. Okay, and the third thing, the most important thing, the needs that need to be provided by the country or the place is with providing us with halal food. And I mentioned to them that it's not only halal food, but we want to eat your local halal food. Okay, no need for me, no need for you to provide us with nasi lemak or roti canai. Contohnya from Malaysia. Because we are traveling not to eat nasi lemak in your country. We want to eat your local food, but halal for us to eat. So what happened back in Taiwan? If you go to Taiwan right sekarang ni, currently they have provided with this halal food in most of their airports. Okay, not only restaurant, certified halal restaurant in the airports, but also you can buy packet food in ataupun macam contoh for you to in Taiwan, contohnya apa dia, tak nenas. Okay, tak nenas is very popular in Taiwan, especially in Kaohsiung. Okay, and back in 2017 nak beli tak nenas tu tak ada halal logo. But if you want to buy it as a souvenir, currently right now you can buy it directly in shops in airports and being certified halal from their local CB. Itu another example of how they can provide this local halal food not only in a restaurant as I mentioned, but also in shops, in convenience shops. Okay, sebab kita makan ni bukan ikut masa. Even though if you're going there with your tourist guide ataupun travel agent, mungkin dia ikut masa, but as a backpackers, you want to eat, I think almost the time, kan, almost 24 hours. Okay, my own experience when I went to Suriname, as I mentioned before, it's a Muslim country, but unfortunately the halal food is not widely available, and we were being placed in hotel, casino hotel in Paramaribo, and for us to eat after lunch. The problem for us during that time with OIC officer, during night time for our dinner, itu masalahnya, because during daytime we have been provided with halal food from local during training, tak ada masalah, breakfast and lunch. Bila balik ke hotel, because it's casino hotel and there is no halal food outlets, there is no halal food restaurants, not only in the hotels but in the surrounding area of the hotels. Itu problem kami lah. Jadi kami niat puasa malam lah. Tak makan malam. So we skip dinner because of the tak ada halal food provided not only in the hotel but in the area of the hotels. Okay, so saya tak tahu lah currently how Suriname have tackled these issues or problem by providing this local halal food in their countries. Okay, so these are three basic needs of a Muslim traveler. And according to this report, okay, the three core themes that reveal that what Muslim travelers needs beyond these three basic needs is on the how to maximize the trip value, and how to choose the halal-friendly accommodation or Muslim-friendly accommodations. As I mentioned, the hotels, the accommodation, okay, and also the family-friendly destination, okay, especially for those from the Arab countries. They will travel with family, okay, and also they have quite specific requirements to cater not only for the individual needs but also the family needs. So what is happening in Malaysia, especially during the I mentioned it's a monsoon from Arab monsoon. dia datang travel to us to Malaysia in a certain month. Okay, we can see that the hotels need to rearrange their, especially their restaurants to cater this family needs, not only individual. Arab dia datang with family, with how many children, how many wife. Okay, so they need to be together, and itu juga adalah satu factors need to be seriously kena provide, okay, especially from these countries. Okay, another report from COMSEC. COMSEC, as I mentioned, is one of the OIC organization office. Okay, it's a standing committee for economic and commercial corporations of the OIC. Okay, they have listed 6 faith-based needs. Okay, as I mentioned also, to provide the halal food, to provide the prayer ataupun solat, untuk kita solat. Okay, the place. As I mentioned, the water usage, friendly toilets, the Ramadan services during the Ramadan, during puasa. Okay, facilities with no non-halal activities, and also the recreation facility with privacy, especially for those with families. Okay, from the COMSEC. Okay, another a list being provided by the DINA standard. These are the main factors that affect decision making, the decision of Muslim tourists when they're traveling for leisure. Number one, still the halal food. Okay, bila kita travel, the most important thing that beside accommodation, that we need to eat the basic needs. And basic need kita as a Muslim, as we know that we need to eat only halal food and beverages. Okay, only the second factor would be the overall price lah. And overall price, mahal tak mahal kita nak travel to that place, the Muslim friendly experience, and so on and so forth. Okay. Okay, these are a list from our undergraduate students with my student with in Pago in tourism. Okay, we come up with 27 lists of the attribution for push factors of Muslim tourists, and we found that from number 1 to number 10 is more on the experience push factors. Okay, because our dia panggil apa? Sekejap lah, saya tak nampak. Okay, our participants ataupun our respondents are young generations or millennial. Okay, and for them, when they are traveling, they would like to get experience. Okay, kalau tengok ni perkataan yang dipakai ni ialah more on the experience. Travel to countries I never been before. Experience culture different from mine. Experience. Okay, compared to number 27, 26, or the rest of it is more on the push factor for the previous generation, like our generation X ataupun baby boomers. Okay, so the term being used is the experientialism. Experientialism. Okay, you can try to find this book, Stuffocations, by James Warman. So in this book, they come up with the term is experientialism. Therefore, you can see that some of the travel agencies ataupun organization, they come up with the experience term, and you want to provide you with experience. And it is why? Because the behavior of travelers, especially the young generations, are more to get intend to get the experience instead of materialism. Kan kalau kita zaman kita dulu, ayah saya kalau travel, dia akan balik with keychain at least. Ataupun dia bawa balik apa? Something lah, apa ni, dia bawa balik barang kan. Tapi this group, the young generation, dia tak balik with material. Kalau beli pun mungkin beli benda kecil-kecil yang untuk bagi kat kawan. Tapi most of them no. They will what they do is that when they travel, they will take pictures, they will take videos, and they upload in Instagram or Facebook. Okay, because they want to share their experience. So therefore, when we create the travel, the tourism, tourism products, especially the tourist attraction tu, area tu, kita kena provide them with some orang kata apa, area for them to take pictures. Kan sekarang ni in Malaysia, I love apa ni contohnya, I love Tanga, Wang Kelian, I've been here and so on and so forth. We need to provide this space for them, especially for these types of travelers to take pictures, to take videos, and instead of providing them with material for them to buy, itu secondary lah. Jadi primary would be the experience. Okay, so these are global needs instead of the global needs not only for Muslim traveler but for the non-Muslim, sama juga. Okay, as a human being. Okay, before I jump into the next section, the Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem, anything you want to ask or anything to add? I have my best friend from Polytechnic sebelah Pagoh, sebelah UIA Pagoh. Ni pakar ni, Cik Ahmad Sahir. You have anything to add? Our expert in Muslim-friendly tourism. Ataupun anybody if you want to ask or you
dah cover everything lah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, kalau tak ada saya boleh sambung boleh ya? Okay. So these are Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem. Okay, what we come up with is that this is a framework, a master plan. Okay, layers by layers. If you look at this, we have 8 layers, 8 items. The Sharia compliant, the first layer. The second layer would be the hospitality. The third layer would be the sustainable development, SD. And for information, one of the area under OIC currently is to come up with the sustainable tourism practices in OIC countries. And early this year, OIC have come up with training for sustainable tourism in OIC countries. Okay, yang green one ya. Dan alhamdulillah UIA pun, our university is focusing on the sustainable development. Okay, and the number 4 would be the buildings, the buildings like hotel, restaurant, bank, and so on and so forth. And then number 5 would be the infrastructures to be provided, the connectivity in terms of airports, port, roads, and railways. Okay, number 6, the travel agent. 7, the tourist guide, and 8 is a tourist attraction. Okay, so these are the 8 components of a Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem. Okay, the difference between the Muslim-friendly tourism and the normal or the conventional tourism would be the Sharia compliant. Itu bezanya. When we're talking about Muslim-friendly tourism, Islamic tourism, halal tourism, Sharia tourism, okay, bezanya with the conventional tourism would be the first layer, the Sharia compliant. Okay, we need to comply with Sharia. So what is a Sharia compliant? The first layer is a Sharia compliant. We need to refer to the Maqasid Sharia. When we develop the, let's say, the tourist attraction, develop the tourism products, developing the, let's say, the hotels and so on and so forth, we need to go back, to refer back to the Maqasid Sharia. Okay, what we do, what we have, especially in our products from IUM product, that we are referring to this table. Okay, this table mention about the, sorry, okay, the metrics between the protection of religion, life, intellect, descendant, and property with this level of needs. Either it's a primary needs, secondary needs, or tertiary needs. So what we do is that we color coded. Warna merah ni is a primary needs. PNR, let's say the first layer would be primary needs to religions, primary needs to life, and so on and so forth. Yang warna hijau muda ni ialah secondary needs. Okay, the SN to religion, SN to life, and so on. And tertiary needs, TN to R. Maksudnya tertiary needs to religion, tertiary needs to life, and so on and so forth. So when, let's say for hotel, when we come up with a Muslim-friendly hotel, so every components of hotel product, services, facilities, in order for them to be certified as a Muslim-friendly hotel, so they need to comply with this Sharia compliant. Okay, let's say on the primary needs, PN. I give example of providing to provide prayer space is a PNR, is a primary needs to religion. Dia maksud dia warna merah tu wajib lah, kena ada. If you want to be a Muslim friendly hotel, at least you need to provide a space for us, for Muslim to solat. Kalau dia ada not only a space, but they have they provide with a musola, with a surau, dia akan jatuh not only PNR, dia akan jatuh ke SNR, the secondary needs. Okay, means that they have provide with a primary needs, they have provide a space, itu primary needs. Tapi in term of instead of only providing a space, small space, so they are providing more large space. Okay, let's say a musola, so dia boleh dapat SNR. They comply with the secondary needs. And in the same example, when not only providing a musola, but musola with facilities in it, a proper facilities in a musola with comfort level, so they can get this. They will comply with the tertiary needs. Tertiary needs ini lebih pada kosmetik, lebih kepada comfort level. Okay, so this is how we read this table. I just give one example of a musola. You just imagine how many facilities in a hotel. Itu baru contoh hotel. How about other places like in shops? Currently under DSM, Department of Standard Malaysia, we are currently developing another MS, Malaysia Standard on Muslim-friendly spa. Okay, not only about ingredients, it's also about the spaces in a spa for them to comply with Sharia. But kita tak panggil dia Sharia compliant spa. We term it as a Muslim-friendly spa. Okay, and other issues lah related to spa. So we are going back to this maqasid Sharia. Okay, so that's the first layer on the Sharia compliant. Okay, the second layer, as I mentioned, same as for the other types of the conventional tourism, we are providing the hospitality. Okay, so the basic understanding of hospitality is that to establish a relationship or to exchange goods or services between two parties, host and guest. Okay, host and guest that share the same moral universe. Okay, let's say our host is non-Muslim, we are Muslim traveler, but we are sharing the same moral universe. Means that we are as a human being, we need to be entertained as a human being, not as an animal. Contohnya begitulah. Another thing is that we as a human being, we want to eat. Okay, we want to eat, so the host need to provide us with a food. Itu a same moral universe. Cuma bezanya sikit for the Muslim friendly is that it's not a local local food yang non halal. It need to be halal food. Itu dia contoh. Itu je penambahan for the Muslim needs. Okay, in terms of a Muslim friendly hospitality. Okay, I give an example. We travel to Taiwan to Penghu Island. Penghu Island is a small island in Taiwan, between Taiwan and mainland China. It's a very small island compared to Langkawi. But in Taiwan, Penghu Island is very popular as a tourist destination. But for Muslim traveler mungkin tak masuk dalam kita punya map lah to go to Penghu Island. Therefore, Penghu Island ni there is no halal restaurant. They have 2 hotels and they have more than 600 homestays. Okay, homestay. Nanti kita akan masuk homestay nanti. Jadi homestay ni, the concept of a homestay in Penghu Island is a traditional homestay. The traditional definition of homestay that we as a guest, we are living together with the host. Okay, it's a 3-story house, di mana the first layer ataupun tingkat aras pertama tu is they have ruang tamu and also the dapur. Okay, and then second aras would be host, rumah host tu. Kita guest akan duduk di tingkat atas. Okay, so usually a guest will be entertained by the host. The host will provide them with food, with either breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Okay, when we travel to Penghu Island, we say to our counterpart that we don't want to be in a hotel, but we would like to be in a homestay. So they ask the homestay owner to provide us with at least a very minimum requirement for a Muslim needs. Okay, to provide us with halal food. Tapi bezanya kat situ bukan dia yang masak. Saya dengan Prof Hamzah kami masak untuk host. Okay, but they provide us with halal new utensil. They bought a new utensil for us to use. Kemudian they provide us with halal certified ingredients from supermarket and so on. Dan malam kita masak lah. Kita masak to the host. And itu satu new experience, not only for us as a tourist, but also for them as a host. Okay, but we are as I mentioned, we are sharing the same moral universe. We are same human being. Cuma bezanya agama berbeza lah, itu je. Okay. Itu in terms of the second layer in terms of hospitality. The third layer would be the sustainable development. Okay, to harmonize these 3 tiers of sustainable development: the social, economy, and the environment itself. Okay, and it's a trend currently, especially after pandemic. Okay, where the sustainable development, sustainable tourism is the focal point, especially to the United Nations, UN, and they come up with a new terms. Instead of a sustainable tourism, they panggil regenerative tourism. So sustainable tourism would be a subset of a regenerative tourism. Okay, the sustainable tourism or regenerative tourism compared to conventional tourism is that we're talking about the mass tourism versus to the more quality tourism like sustainable or regenerative tourism. Because we know that mass tourism, what happened to with the mass tourism to the place like the Taj Mahal, rosak because of the climate change due to the mass tourism. Kan dia bukan semata-mata rosak because of the kerosakan physical, but also the the local pun social, in terms of social pun ada berlaku kerosakan. So that due to that reason, so United Nations come up with this term regenerative tourism. So sustainable is more looking at the environment, but when talking about regenerative tourism, it's not only the environment but also the social part, the social part. Okay. So the left-hand side of this MFT Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem is the physical building, as I mentioned, individual buildings like hotels. What is the function of the hotels? Not only the hotel, but the resort, the homestays, the accommodation is accommodations. The restaurant to provide us with the needs for tourists to eat. Okay, halal restaurants. Banks to accommodate the economic needs of the tourists, the money changer and so on. Okay, shops, it can be divided into 3 types of shops, either a convenience store, the gift store, the souvenir store, service store like a spa and so on. Okay, and individually, as I mentioned, like spa, we need to further develop this spa for the service store as a Muslim-friendly spa. Itu contoh in terms of how we can, what are the opportunities for us to further develop in this Muslim-friendly physical buildings. Masjid pun or mosque. Okay, in Malaysia, according to ITC, Islamic Tourism Center under MOTAC, also this is a popular destination. So the term being used in ITC is that is a mosque tourism ataupun masjid tourism. Okay, it's not only for us as a Muslim to use masjid for solat, tapi it also can be opened up for tourists to travel to visit a masjid as a one of the tourist attraction. Hospital is to provide us with these medical needs, but also, as I mentioned before, that also it can also be further developed ataupun being developed as a tourism product, macam medical tourism. Okay, and other amenities like these public parks and public toilets. Okay, I'm quoting this from our friend, Brother Ahmad Sahih, from his book in 2016, the types of hotels. When we look at the hotels, so according to Brother Sahih, he has divide hotels into 5 types of hotel. Either it's a conventional hotels, the Muslim-friendly hotels, the dry hotels. Dry hotel is a conventional hotels, but there is not selling any alcohol to the premise. The Muslim welcome hotel, betul tak apa ni Brother Sahib, this from Japan. Okay, Japan are using Muslim welcome hotels, and the Sharia compliant hotels. Okay, from our experience, when we do the Muslim-friendly hotel rating system, this one, okay, this is our own product, our IUM product, Muslim-friendly hotel rating system. We are not using Sharia compliant hotel, but instead of using Sharia compliant, so we term it as a Muslim-friendly. But the basic thing, as I mentioned, behind the scenes, that the underlying principle would be referring to the Sharia compliant. And we found that there are few hotels in Malaysia that can be considered a Sharia compliant hotel, but due to the reason of the term being used is a Muslim friendly, so we give them 5-star Muslim friendly hotels that comply with this Sharia compliant. Itu ada begitu, ada sikit lah in terms of branding. Okay, so jump into this Muslim friendly hotel rating system. What we do as a solution, as a tools, in order for us to certify the hotel as a Muslim friendly, so we come up with these tools. We have 2 tools: the scorecard and the guidelines. Okay, and according to Dr. Salwa, he mentioned about this Muslim friendly hotel being used in 3 countries. In Malaysia, in Taiwan, and in South Korea. Currently, we have 4 hotels in Malaysia being certified. audited and certified. And we have 13 hotels in Taiwan being audited and certified, and also 4 hotels in South Korea. Okay, so when we come up with the scorecard, the tools, the first tools, that we have 2 versions of it. The first version is for the non-Muslim countries, and the second version is for Muslim countries. Why these 2 versions? Because we know that in non-Muslim countries, there is no Islamic ecosystem in the non-Muslim countries compared to Muslim countries like Malaysia. Malaysia is a Muslim country, so we know that we have an Islamic ecosystem, not only in the hotels but outside the hotels, the environment, the total environment. So the difference is between these non-Muslim countries and Muslim countries. There's some of item in the non-Muslim countries that we know that for now they cannot provide. But looking at the back to the Sharia compliant, as I mentioned, the primary needs itu wajib kena ada. Kalau you look at the scorecard, there is a color coding. Dia ada merah, hijau, and so on so forth. Back to the maqasid Syariah table tadi lah. So macam mana pun they need to provide it. Okay, let's say contoh macam food and beverages, no alcohol to be served for Muslim. Halal certification for competent halal from halal certification body for the ingredients kalau they are providing the halal food. Okay, non-halal menu has a code for not for Muslim. Itu benda yang wajib, even though in these non-Muslim countries. Compared to the Muslim countries, this full Syariah lah. Okay, full Syariah factors. Okay. Okay, so what are the criteria that we are looking at for Muslim-friendly hotels? We can provide, we develop into 7 criteria. The first thing is on the general items, food and beverages. Second, the third one in the room itself. Okay, the fourth on the recreational facility and entertainment. Fifth on the human resource. We are looking at the back end of the hotel. Okay, in terms of training, in terms of Muslim officer in the hotel. Okay, so that's under the human resource. Number 6 is on the finance. If it is in the Muslim country, if the hotel is owned by a Muslim, so we mentioned that in this criteria that the hotel need to pay zakat if the owner is a Muslim. If the owner is non-Muslim, the term we use is a sedekah. So we need to use, we need to provide this social responsibility, okay, CSR, corporate social responsibility. Okay, so that in terms of the finance, and other than that, innovation. So we give an option for the hotel to innovate. We have examples in a few hotels in Kuala Lumpur, especially when they would like us to certify their hotel. So they come up with the innovation in terms of not only to provide the basic things, but lebih daripada itu. Dia tunjuklah these are some innovation in terms of technology, in terms of environment, in terms of dakwah, okay, in terms of ICT and so on. Okay, so we give them option for the innovation. So the second solution that we also come out from IUM is the Muslim-friendly homestay certification. Okay, if you look at this, the scorecard, dia lagi panjang lah berbanding with dengan hotel. Okay, we have 8 criteria instead of 7 criteria like in hotel. Okay, where in a homestay we have an exterior design, we have an interior design of a homestay. Because we need, when we're talking about homestay, we are not talking about a homestay in KL like macam contoh you ada rumah kosong you sewakan, you panggil jadi homestay. It cannot be, we are not referring to that definition. We are referring to the definition like a traditional homestay, contohnya Kampung Haji Dorani, when we are living together with the host. So the issue is that when we are living, a guest living together with a host for a certain night, and if the host orang kampung contoh, walaupun pun Muslim, kita pun Muslim, kita orang Islam, dia pun orang Islam, tapi when talking about certain area, bila kita hidup dengan dia with a culture, with that culture, kadang-kadang dia ada sedikit kita kena berhati-hati dari segi pemahaman tu. Contohnya dari segi aurat, for example, we living together with them, tapi dari segi aurat host, anak dara dia ke ataupun isteri host, kan, kalau kita punya as a guest, as a male guest, how to educate this. Okay, we can educate it through training. We can educate it through design. And so what we come up with a solution is with design. Contohnya in term of toilet, if instead of only one toilet, we have experience living in what research in Kampung Haji Durrani in one of the house, that we have one space for us to accommodate, and tetapi toilet we need to share with the host. Jadi pagi-pagi ada masalah sikit lah. Bila nak pergi ke toilet tu, kita kena lalu master bedroom, kita kena lalu kitchen. Dan pagi-pagi tu kita tahu host nak bangun pagi, nak sediakan makanan, kadang-kadang anak dara dia ke, and so on so forth. Jadi isu sikit lah dari segi aurat. So perhaps what we can do is that beside training, that also we can redesign certain area of the house. Even though we know that the house is a personal house, tapi kita boleh when that house as a homestay, when we audit, kita beritahu dia lah, you need to alter this, redesign sikit according to our guideline. Okay. So these are the criteria number 2 and number 3, and then the food and beverages, recreation, entertainment, human resource, and another thing that we add for the homestay is the cultural integration. Okay, kalau kita ni Melayu dengan Melayu, no problem. As I mentioned, our example in Penghu Island, 2 different culture. We are from Malay culture, and there are Chinese, Taiwanese culture lain. How to integrate the culture? Okay, so we put it as one of the criteria in the homestay certification. Okay, the latest product that we also have is a certified TOEIC food outlet. Okay, TFOS, where we try to assist the food outlet, either the cafeteria, the restaurant, even though we know that in Malaysia, it is not mandatory, tetapi usually restaurant in a hotel, if it is being certified as a Muslim-friendly hotel ataupun Sharia compliant hotel, one of the component is to have one halal restaurant, okay, being certified by JAKIM, only by JAKIM. But when talking about the hygiene part, the safety, the food safety part, so this is where we try to leverage ataupun to upgrade the understanding of halal and TOEIC. Okay, it's not only halal but the TOEIC part. So we come up with this TOEIC food outlet, where we are talking about to provide with the nutritious menu, the food hygiene, the food safety, and behind the scene on the employee and food service, and some of the innovations. So these are the latest product that we have for the certified TOEIC food outlets that we can use in a tourism sector. Okay, the next layer would be the infrastructure. As I mentioned, these are the connectivity. Okay, like airport, ports, roads, and railways. And also, we're talking about these infrastructures like airport, especially airports. What we have experience back in Taiwan, in 2017, there is no space for us to solat. Tak ada. But when we go there back in 2018, So what happened in Kaohsiung Airport? This is an example of a video captured by Pro Hamzah during our visit to Kaohsiung last time. If you can see this video, boleh nampak tak video? Okay, so what they have provided is that they have provided 3 spaces, individual spaces for different types of religions. Okay, this is for us. This is for Muslim. And the most important thing, not only the space, but also the tempat ambil semayang, tempat ambil wuduk tu. And even though it's quite small, musola compared to Malaysia standard kan, tapi at least ada specialized space for us. The most important thing that dia ada tempat wuduk, tak perlu pergi toilet. Okay. Okay, the next layer would be the travel agent. Okay, travel agent, we know that mungkin travel agent sekarang ni tak begitu function dia is quite different with travel agent back in 1980 or 90s. Okay, as I mentioned, due to the technologies. Tetapi still there, travel agent still ada. Okay, to provide us with this related service to the tourists. The tourist guide. Tourist guide pun ada kita pakai, ada tak pakai. Most of when young generation, as I mentioned, the millennial, they are not using tourist guide anymore. They are backpackers. Okay, they travel by themselves with their friends. No need to use the tourist guide. But tourist guide still there, masih ada lagi. Okay, and this I think a good opportunity for our friends from the kuliah, from the language departments. Okay, on the providing them with the skills of telling stories. Okay, skill yang diperlukan by a tourist guide lah. Not only skill but knowledge. Okay, what we have done with ITC Summit Tourism Center back in 2015 dulu, we collaborate with ITC, providing this 2 days training and 1 day assessment, and a license. We provide ITC under MOTEC provide this license, a Muslim-friendly tourist guide license, okay, to the tourist guide. And 80% of our tourist guide during that time, 4 batches of tourist guide, non-Muslim tourist guide. And when we ask them why they interested with this Muslim-friendly tourist guide, and then they mention is that because they receive Muslim tourists, especially from China. Okay, and they want to know further on how to serve these Muslim tourists. Okay, and therefore we come up with this training, provide them with knowledge, very simple knowledge about what is Islam, what is the Sharia principle in Islamic tourism, what is how to communicate with Muslim, what facilities to be provided to Muslim, let's say the itinerary, okay, spaces and others. Okay, itu yang kita come out with this Muslim-friendly tourist guide. Okay, these are some of the roles of a Muslim-friendly tourist guide: having basic knowledge on the requirements of Muslim travelers, keeping the guests with their informed with the prior times and others. Okay. And we come up with the 10 principles of Islamic codes of ethics in tourism. Okay, I think these are different training lah. If you want to go in depth about this, perhaps we can have a different training on every single principles. Okay, the next layer is the last layer. The last layer would be the tourist attractions, and there's no definite forms of tourist attraction. It can be either physical or the non-physical forms. Okay, the physical forms like monuments, buildings, like what we have in especially in Melaka and Penang. Okay, in terms of heritage buildings, heritage monuments, and also we have a non-physical forms like culture, like food, gastronomic tourism. Contohnya, itu pun is a tourist attraction to attract tourists. Why they need to go to that place. Okay, and reason of attraction would be perhaps on the historical values, the uniqueness of that space or that place, and the educational reasons. Okay. So the scope of a Muslim-friendly tourism, it can also be in across to the other types of sub-sectors of tourism, like Muslim-friendly tourism in nautical tourism, Muslim-friendly tourism in ecotourism, in business tourism, in cultural tourism, medical tourism, and others. Okay, and we know that beside this type of a tourism, there are some of tourism that cannot be Muslim friendly kan, tak boleh. Contohnya in Thailand they have sex tourism, so it cannot be Muslim friendly kan sex tourism, tak boleh. So there is ada boleh ada yang tak boleh, yang kita boleh Muslim friendly kan that type of tourism. So this is some of opportunities for a researcher like us right now on how to go further on how to Muslim friendly kan other types of subsectors of tourism. So these are some of the example innovation in tourism. One example is the Shirin Yoku, is a forest therapy originated from Japan, and we know that this Shirin Yoku, if you refer to a book or literature written about this Shirin Yoku, there are the benefits there, tapi dia ada certain components of Shirin Yoku tu is not Islamic. So we know that Shirin Yoku or forest therapy is good for medical, for health, and especially to attract travelers to go to our forest. Tetapi in term of Muslim friendly tu kita kena ubah sikit. Okay, so these are some of the opportunity for us as a researcher to Muslim friendly kan this forest therapy. Even though currently there's a certified forest therapy guide, okay, there are the association dia. Tapi mungkin in Malaysia we can come up with a Muslim friendly forest therapy contohnya. Okay, so that's another opportunities. This innovation, as I mentioned, by ITC Summit Tourism Center and the MOTAC, also they come up with mosque tourism. Okay, back in 2018, this according to Trip Advisor, these are three masjids yang popular, Putra Mosque, National Mosque, and Masjid Biru in Shah Alam. Okay, and apa yang kita tengok tadi, Muslim friendly tourism ecosystem is one of the ecosystem for the whole halal ecosystem. When we're talking about halal ecosystem, it's not only a halal food, it's also in the Muslim friendly tourism ecosystem. So to research further, perhaps we need to come up with a proper halal ecosystem, halal food ecosystem itself. Islamic banking ecosystem in our IIBF, our sister, mungkin they have come up with the ecosystem for Islamic banking ecosystem. From our physical part, especially from KAID, maybe perhaps we can further develop on the ecosystem of the green building, on the safe city ecosystem, where everything they akan interrelated, they akan connected. Okay. Apa yang kita bincang tadi on the only Muslim friendly tourism ecosystem, one of the ecosystem. Okay, any question, anything to add before further continue with another two subtopics?
Dr. Shakirin?
Yeah.
Just want to ask, what is your point of view about spiritual tourism?
Spiritual tourism. Maybe perhaps on the religious tourism lah. Spiritual tourism ni macam saya cakap tadi lah, maybe if it is a spiritual tourism like Islamic tourism, I think for me is more on the spiritual tourism. Contohnya macam orang selalu buat sebelum ni Islamic cruise contohnya. Islamic cruise, daripada kita dengar ceramah dekat masjid, perhaps nak dengar ceramah atas cruise. Jadi dia punya orang kata content tu more on the religious knowledge. Mungkin itu adalah subsector of the religious tourism ataupun spiritual tourism. Dalam Kristian pun they have the Christian tourism sini. Sama macam kita buat tu, dia panggil ambil cruise, dia buat atas cruise tu, dan they preach about the Christian knowledge. And itu kefahaman saya on the spiritual tourism lah.
Macam boleh buat ibadah camp atas cruise juga lah.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
Kita buat camp lain atas kapal. Hablu minallah, hablu minannas.
Tapi mahal lah, Prof. Di situ boleh belanja RM50, okay kot.
But it's one of the potential thing, what?
Yes.
Macam juga kita kita buat ibadah camp dalam hutan ke, so then it's part of it.
Yes, betul. And also I think our own IEP ataupun ibadah camp, it also can be tourism product sebenarnya. I believe that the university don't have this ibadah camp as ibadah camp lah. Maybe they have this panggil apa, hari keluarga kan, family dia panggil apa, hari keluarga kan, family day for the organization. But we have a ibadah camp when we have the spiritual needs, the spiritual knowledge, the spiritual spiritual item dalam tu, content dalam tu. So if you can further develop it, not only for us as a staff, but if you can develop it as a tourism product for others who like to experience the ibadah camp. Macam Prof cakap tadi, kita buat dalam hutan, ibadah camp in forest. Ibadah camp itu is a tourism product juga. Kan? Itu under ni lah, dia panggil apa, edutourism. Under edutourism, we can put it under edutourism as one of the service ataupun produk. Kelebihan yang ada pada kita lah, itu. Betul.
I sebenarnya ada satu soalan Dr. Syakirin. Tadi I maybe miss out about the homestay tadi kan. How we are going to tackle, because kalau kita tengok homestay, when we look at the homestay punya concept, homestay is actually you are actually inviting people to have an experience, okay, together with you, okay, about the culture, especially like lifestyle punya culture ke, ataupun kita punya festive punya culture ke, okay, with the outsiders, okay. Macam you kata tadi, the issues of mahram lah tadi kan, because the mahram is actually talking about the aurat and everything, because they, kalau ikut konsep asal homestay tu, they are staying together with us. Okay, so how we are tackle this? Because sekarang ni kalau kita tengok the concept of homestay tu dah berbeza dah. Dia dah jadi macam rumah sewa dah. Kan? Betul. In which you sewakan rumah, they stay in your house, but you are not staying together with them lah. Yes. Okay, tetapi kalau kita tengok konsep asal homestay is actually they are staying together with us. They are actually join our kata orang daily life that we are actually practice. Okay, now the issue of mahram tadi lah, issue of aurat, issue of private spaces that they are actually together with, in which they are not our family member, they are not our mahram. Even when the concept of mahram itself, kadang-kadang kita ni ahli keluarga, but we are not mahram also. Okay, so furthermore, macam orang ni, orang luar, they are not our family members, they are actually outsiders, and of course they are not our mahram at all. How we are actually tackle this type of issues if we want to implement this concept of homestay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Prof. As I mentioned, there are two types of solutions, either through education or through design-based. Design-based, as we look at this homestay certification, what we have produced ni, kita letak in term of interior homestay design. Memanglah dia akan ada cost sikit lah kan. Tapi maybe perhaps we need to redesign interiorly. Contohnya macam in term of bilik asing ataupun toilet dalam tu sekali instead of toilet kat luar. Memanglah dia akan rasa macam adalah cost kat situ, dan mungkin orang yang rasa macam tak ni macam jadi macam hotel pula asing-asing macam ni kan. Tapi isu kat situ is in term of embedding it into design is quite subjective, tapi at least need to have certain rules and regulation in term of design for the existing homestay.
So far from your experience that you go through this auditing processes dan sebagainya juga kan, how much this one have been implemented? Maksudnya sejauh mana this kata orang concern have been implemented? Either individually homestay punya owner ataupun inisiatif daripada kerajaan.
Okay, for homestay ni sebenarnya under MOTAC, under Ministry of Tourism, dia ada dia punya homestay punya license ataupun kriteria sendiri for homestay. Okay, contoh macam Kampung Haji Durrani ada kat situ. Cuma in term of Muslim friendly tu is not orang kata apa detail yet, tak ada lagi. Dia on the cultural saja. Tapi in term of providing a Muslim friendly needs, do and don'ts tu dia belum lagi diketengahkan. And due to that reason, kita ambil benda tu sebagai opportunity for us to come out with our own certification lah. Tapi macam Prof tanya tu, this homestay certification, walaupun kita dah buat benda dah siap, I think last 2 or 3 years, tapi ni produk ni belum kita tak ada lagi homestay yang di certified, audit and certified. Due to the COVID-19 especially dah. Tapi kita nak cuba buat benda ni dekat Penghu Island di Taiwan tu, tapi due to pandemic kita tak boleh nak teruskan. Tapi bila kita come up with this product ni, homestay certification ni, kita refer to kita buat research dekat Kampung Haji Durrani tu, yang itulah kita dapat these 8 criteria that we think that the factors that we need to take care and to ensure that if you want to be certified as a Muslim friendly homestay, these are the basic 8 criteria ni.
Yalah, sebab apa? Sebab kalau kita ambil data tadi balik pada soalan awal tadi, the definition of mana yang sesuai Muslim friendly ke, halal ke, Islamic. Sebab kalau halal ni, dia tak semestinya cover the person kan. Because this Muslim, meaning that the person is not only the visitors but also the person of the owner.
Yes.
The operators. It also must comply with the Muslim punya criteria lah. Kan? So, so itu yang adanya challenges lah. In countries, okay, where they are non-Muslim, macam tadi kat Taiwan ke kat mana jaga kan. So how, because they are actually non-Muslim, how we are going to make sure that the Muslim definition tu is actually cover both. Both person lah, the operators as well as the visitors kan. The visitors might fulfill the the Muslim punya criteria, but the operators tu.
Yeah. Especially if it's not Muslim, kalau dia bukan is non-Muslim, macam ni.
Itulah. Jadi maksudnya sekarang ni kalau negara yang non-Muslim, the concept of Muslim friendly tourism tadi cakapkan only apply to the visitors sajalah. Okay. Ya. Betul. Cuma saya tengok benda tu Prof as sebab tu kita panggil Muslim friendly. So if the host is non-Muslim, is not a Muslim, but they provide us with facility services according to the religion of the guest, a Muslim. Then sebab tu dia Muslim friendly. They're friendly for the Muslim to come and stay, to eat. Eat lain lah, eat halal. Tapi to stay. Because it's a friendly for you to stay. Even though I'm not, contohnya dia bukan Muslim. Walaupun dia layan kita, dia tak tutup aurat dan sebagainya.
Jadi kita beritahu lah macam apa yang contohnya kat Pengwailan tu, kita our host kat sana, our partner kat sana cakap kat host tu, they are Muslim, three of them are Muslim, so there's a do and don'ts. You cannot this. Sebab tu dia faham. So they train this host dulu for us to receive us as a Muslim. Sebab tu bila kita pergi situ, pinggan mangkuk semua tu dia beli baru tu, Prof. Dia beli baru, periuk tu dia beli baru. Dia tak pakai dia punya, dia faham dah. Sebab orang sana dia tegang, kata orang Muslim ni tak boleh makan babi, mungkin tak boleh makan benda yang you masak sekarang ni kan. So mungkin dia bercampur aduk kat situ, kan nak pakai kita kena samak, kita kena sertu. So instead of sertu nak ajar sertu pula, dia kata okeylah kami beli baru. Dia beli kuali baru dan kita masak gitu. So I think that the first solution is beside on design. So I think the primary solution for that is to educate. Even though they are non-Muslim host, the non-Muslim receiver host especially. So the best part is to educate them. To educate them, not for them to be a Muslim, tapi to educate them for them to receive us as a Muslim.
Okay. Alright. Thanks, Shakirin.
Yeah. Thank you, Prof. Any other questions? Or anything to add?
Ada.
Betul Sam. Okay.
Sebenarnya soalan saya ni lebih kurang sama dengan soalan Prof ni. I'm just trying to relate to what you just said earlier on dark tourism lah.
Okay.
And in certain countries there are things that you cannot Islamize. The tourism activities kan. In Malaysia there are also similar activities which you cannot Islamize. And here we are talking about being Muslim friendly, sometimes position ourselves as Islamic tourism. I mean, it is as simple as looking at sports, looking at certain cultural events. Not all. I mean, if you are looking at really into our beliefs, kan, our religion, okay, you cannot be separated by gender. You cannot see aura. I mean, if you look at sports,
yeah,
you cannot go to the stadium and observe gymnastics, even swimming or even muay thai ke apa. Itu dah terang-terang tak boleh.
Yeah.
So I mean, not all can be Islamized.
Yes.
What do you think about that? Yeah. Even in Malaysia lah, my context is in Malaysia because we position ourselves as Muslim friendly.
I think it's a process. It's a process. Islamization is a process. It's a process. Apa ni?
Itu sebab kan teringat cerita Malik Noor. Okay, Malik Noor dia buang semua piala-piala dia tau. Because dia kata itu zaman jahiliah dia kata. Dia punya sport tu is actually tak menghalalkan dia untuk terima all that award dia kata.
Yeah. Betul. Apa ni? It's a process sebenarnya. Apa ni? Yalah, Islam ni pun proses. Dulu zaman jahiliah, sebelum jahiliah macam mana kan. Sampai sekarang pun it's a process. It's a berterusan proses tu, the Islamization tu. I give an example. Bila kita pergi Suriname tu, kita cakap tentang Muslim friendly tourism ni, and dia cakap we have ramai orang asli, orang asal in Amazon. Sebab dia punya forest tu dia sambung ke Amazon. Dia directly straight to the Amazon. And they kata this is one of our famous product, our famous tourism product. When turis datang, memang kita akan bawa pergi ke orang asli dia belakang tu. Tapi dia tanya kita, if you want a Muslim friendly, how to Muslim friendly kan this because dia orang pakai cawat, dia orang pakai ni, so you cannot. You
cannot.
Betul juga, macam mana saya nak jawab? So ada certain thing boleh, ada certain thing tak boleh. I give example. Back I think masa zaman Kelantan pada zaman arwah Tok Guru ni Aziz dulu kan. In term of culture, in term of contohnya apa dia? Wayang kulit.
Yeah.
Wayang kulit, kita tahu bila ada wayang kulit tu because traditionally bukan setakat main wayang tu, bukan main
kulit wayang pun.
Ada belakangnya tu ada bacaan mantra-nya kan. So what Kelantan government state do that time is that they stop for a while. Dia buat kajian mendalam. Kemudian lepas tu dia sekarang boleh main wayang kulit tu. Kenapa? Because ada benda-benda yang syirik tu dia keluarkan. Okay, you nak main wayang kulit, main lah. It's just like you masuk wayang lah, tengok wayang kan. It's a culture. So sama macam di Johor contohnya Prof kan, kuda kepang.
Yeah.
Kuda kepang kalau tengok tu memang dia ada bacaan dia tu. Tapi apa yang kerajaan Johor buat, dia stop kejap, kemudian dia buat ni, okey nak main kuda kepang, mainlah sekarang, no problem. Mainlah sebagai daya tarikan untuk menari kuda kepang.
Sungai Balang Prof. Sungai Balang kan dari
Balang. Tapi without that mantra-mantra tu lah. Itu I think it's a process of Islamization in a Muslim-friendly product. It's a Muslim-friendly tourism product. So in terms of us as a researcher, I think it's lots of opportunities. In terms of how to change the conventional type of products tu to be Islamized kan, untuk jadi Muslim-friendly kan.
Another question kan, Dr. Shakirin, whether we should be Islamizing certain things or shouldn't we, should leave certain things alone? Because sometimes, I mean, if you are looking at marketing point of view, that the pool of certain things depends on the product, and the products that we are offering sometimes can attract a certain segment of people. So if we were to change a little bit to Islamize it, it becomes not an attraction anymore. What's your take on that?
Okay, I think lah. For me, it back to the pull and push factors. Pull and push factors. So either you want to develop it to attract the tourists to come because of the products, ataupun is a big based on the push factor of the person of the group. Kalau pull factor from us, kita kata okay, kita develop the product and we hope that it can pull up all this the tourists to come. Ataupun another type is a push factor because we know that they have something. We know that that group of person have intention to come because of due of the reasons. Contohnya medical tourism contohnya kan. Kenapa dia datang kepada kita? Sebab because they have a need to come. So when we develop that type of products, either we can is a pull or push factors. Begitu sama in term of Muslim friendly tourism products ni. Mungkin maybe perhaps they let's say contohnya lah medical health ataupun mental health. Mental health ni kenapa macam Shinrin-yoku? Macam mana dia jadi pull and push factors for person for the guest to go to the Shinrin-yoku forest in Japan due to the mental health, because of the push factor of the mental health, and then in the same time it's a pull factor developed in Japan for the forest tu. So dia jadi orang kata serasi lah kan, serasi. Begitu juga dalam Muslim friendly ni, kalau kita boleh tengok apa isu dia, and we have solution and we develop that products to cater the solution, to cater as a solution for the person, for the group of person di sana tu. Contoh gitulah. Saya rasa mungkin Dr. Samsul ada jawapan tu.
Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can I continue if there is no other questions? Okay, sikit lagi apa ni? Okay. Another opportunities when we're talking about Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem is that we try to push this MFTE at the strategic level. Kan kalau kita tengok tadi in the Muslim-friendly tourism ecosystem tadi yang bulat-bulat tadi, it is a top down. Sorry, it's a bottom up. It's a bottom up means that from the industry, from the community, top to the strategic level. Tapi another solution yang kita boleh buat is a top down. Top down means that from the country itself, from the state, from the district, daripada atas turun ke bawah. Okay, this is untuk menjadikan Muslim friendly tourism ecosystem ni more acceptable. Okay, it can be bottom up, it can be bottom up, it can be top down. Kalau bottom up, the problem with bottom up is that if the society, if the area ataupun the country, dia ada the self motivation, no problem, it can be bottom up tu senang. Tapi kalau dia tak ada self motivation, contohnya bila kita buat Muslim friendly hotel di Malaysia ni, sebab tu kalau kita nombor tadi 4 hotel ya dekat Malaysia ni, dia tak nak dapat Muslim friendly compared to Taiwan 13. Kenapa? Sebab kita pergi tanya hotel-hotel di Malaysia ni, dia kata Tak Muslim friendly kami tak Muslim friendly sangat ke? Kami belum Muslim friendly lagi ke? Kami tak ada ni lagi ke? Tak cukup lagi ke? Contohnya lah. Kan? Sebab ni untuk educate them is quite hard lah, bukan impossible. Agak susah sikit because they think that okay, the environment is there, the ecosystem is there. One need to have this certification. Tapi bila kita pergi the non-Muslim countries, they found that this certification is important for us as a marketing tools. As a marketing tools. Dan juga bukan setakat marketing tools, tapi the preparation, because dia rasa macam the tourist ni ataupun the guest ni bila datang dia akan tengok ada tak ada disediakan, for example. Okay, so another solution top down ni, contoh sekarang Japan kata we are Muslim friendly country lebih lagi daripada negara lain, tapi self claim. There is no third party yang mengatakan Japan is a Muslim friendly country 5-star compared to let's say Korea 3-star this year. So next year katakan Korea kata tak boleh ni, kita kena push jadi 4-star. Then Japan nak maintain 5-star. And it's a top down of the country. So bila top down the country, apa komponen dia? Apa yang menjadikan is a Muslim friendly state? Apa menjadikan Muslim friendly country? So we come up with this scorecard. How many numbers, contohnya, how many numbers of your hotel being certified as Muslim friendly? Kita tanya kat situ quantitative numbers. Dan secara tak langsung dia akan kalau nak jadi 4-star, contohnya we need to have at least how many? Let's say 10 hotels in Japan, in Tokyo, contohnya Tokyo. 10 hotel di Tokyo Muslim friendly. Contohnya lah, ni contoh. So it's a top down from the mayor, contohnya, okay, tahun depan kita kena target to get 4-star 4-star city, Muslim friendly city. Muslim city, we need to have 10 hotels. So hotel pun bukan berebut lah, it's a motivation factor, tak? It's a motivation factor for them to get the certification. Itu contohnya hotel. So what we come up with is a scorecard. We have Muslim friendly hotel. We have halal. How many halal kitchens being certified? How many Muslim friendly spa being certified? How many Muslim friendly hospital in terms of transportation sector? How many Muslim friendly airport, railway station, R&R, bus station, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these are the tools that we can use. Okay, we can use to audit and to certify at the strategic level. Okay, and for your information, sekarang ni this MFTE being akan di-implement by the one of the saya tak sebut nama lagi lah, tapi one of by the government punya sector lah, to use this MFTE scorecard to other countries. So we will be the third party yang akan jadi auditor and certified that country to be as a Muslim friendly country. Okay. So what are the research opportunities in MFT? Every single layers yang saya sebut tadi. Every single layers. Even though let's say hotels, we have come up with this rating system for the hotels, but perhaps we can redevelop lagi, redesign balik. Ni banyak lagi yang kita boleh buat. For information, when we come up with this Muslim friendly hotel rating system ni, is under grant, is a research grant for 5 years, and alhamdulillah we have almost 20 postgraduates, master and PhD students yang graduated from this topic saja, hotel. Kita tak tengok lagi resort, homestay. Resort for me, hotel is hotel punya sifat dia ialah dia vertical, kan? Resort dia punya sifat ialah horizontal, kan? Jadi not only the building but the surrounding. Jadi ada sifat dia mungkin berbeza sikit daripada homestay, daripada hotel. Itu belum ada lagi for resort. Hotel pun yang kita buat tadi tu is a Muslim friendly hotel rating system, operational stage, O&M stage. Kita tak keluarkan lagi Muslim friendly hotel rating system at design stage. Awal-awal lagi kalau client, let's say you want to construct, to design and construct a Muslim friendly hotel from start, from design stage. Mungkin Prof Razak kan kita seni bina architecture, landscape, even QS, planner, ada komponen-komponen kat situ for them to design that hotel as a Muslim friendly hotel from design stage. I give two example hotel yang dah buat benda tu from design stage. Adia Hotel in Langkawi and Paya Bunga atau dekat Terengganu tu, milik kerajaan negeri Terengganu. Apa nama? Satu Sharia compliant hotel from design stage, been designed according to the Muslim friendly needs. Ataupun guidelines. Okay, itu in term of hotel lah, resort lagi, homestay lagi, so banyak lagi need to be kita kena research on, not only in hotels but restaurant, bank and others, kan, airport ni semua ni, and how to integrate not only this ni tapi how to integrate the Syariah punya components, the hospitality punya component, and the most important thing juga on the sustainable development punya components. Okay, in every single components of infrastructure and buildings. Okay, so I would like to share another slides, very straightforward slides. Perhaps these are the dia panggil apa, rahsia kot lah. Open secret. Okay, sekejap mana dia? Boleh nampak ya? Okay, these are some of research ideas that we develop. Okay, some of the ideas, we have almost 40 types of ideas. Okay, the ecosystem itself, this to research more detail about this. Then the Muslim Tourist Behavior Index, okay, type of generation according to the type of generation, millennial, generation X, baby boomers, apa behavior dia. Dan the most important thing that according to the Muslim friendly, apa Muslim tourist behavior. And not only the general tourist, but looking at the Muslim tourist behavior. Apa dia? Apa behavior in terms of millennial, generation X and baby boomers. Dan kita indexkan this behavior. And the third idea is that when we have the index, so the research output would be the index at the tourist attraction. So we need to we can have metrics between the individual index of Muslim tourist behavior to the tourist attraction. So therefore, the tourist attraction, when they try to attract different types of generation, so dia akan ada orang kata apa, a good map lah, a good mapping. Kan apa ni, contohnya millennial, so tourist attraction dia akan sediakan for millennial punya needs, Muslim millennial punya needs, begitu generation X and others. Okay, then the Muslim friendly spa, as I mentioned, currently we are trying to come up with this MS standard for Muslim friendly spa. Okay, this CBA condition, BCA condition based assessment, CBA for this tourist attraction like either fixed as or removable assets. And then Muslim forest therapy, as I mentioned, the concept of Shinrin-yoku on how to Muslim friendly kind of forest therapy too. Okay, and then the homestay rating system, so they completed the siap ni, tapi we can further discuss, we further research on this. Okay, and then the Islamic heritage trail contohnya, kan, ni tak ada kosong ni. Knowledge development for Muslim friendly tourist guide, and FM in the Muslim friendly tourism, my area of FM. Input output components of experientialism in Muslim friendly tourism ecosystem. This is edutourism. Okay, and then the concept for edutourism gap analysis. This is a halal industry learning experience center. It can be one of a tourist attraction ataupun just like macam contoh petroscience kan, tapi this is for halal industry, and also we can do other types of center, contohnya Prof construction industry experience center. Buat konsep macam petroscience, tapi for the construction industry, termasuk dengan museum construction. Asalnya belum ada lagi kat Malaysia museum construction. Okay. Then the tourism as a hill recovery and increasing of work productivity. Apa kesan tourism to the productivity. Okay. Product showcase event, highway tourism. Okay. This is a tourism product planning methodology flow chart. Architecture of a sleep pattern in Muslim friendly hotel. Ni maksud saya, kalau even though there is a Muslim friendly hotel rating system is there, the certification is there, but when we go in-depth research on that, ada lagi yang kita boleh buat research in term of the architecture of sleep pattern of a guest in the hotel. Jadi antara variable yang kita boleh tengok, bed, type of pillow, music background, distance of travel, etc. So these are some of the variable. At least we can come up with the punya sleep architecture. Okay, sama juga for the sleep architecture for the forest therapy. Okay. Customer complaint. Currently, my student, one of our students is doing this research, master student on the customer complaint management, Muslim friendly. Couch surfing among Muslim millennial tourists. Apa lagi? Design thinking, design thinking in Muslim friendly tourism. This is a mindfulness based stress reduction in terms of health, into mental health. Apa kesan forest therapy to mental health? Kan? Ini in place ni for forest therapy in place. Redefining Islamic tourism, halal tourism and tourism as I mentioned. How to redefine? Apa dia punya proper definition for Islamic tourism, halal tourism or Muslim friendly tourism. Okay. Apa lagi? That's it. So these are some of the bank of ideas lah for us to proceed as a group of researchers afterwards. Okay, back to Dr. Salwa.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Shakirin. I believe that there are too many opportunities, research that we can explore, and then we can see that more opportunity there. According to the time, I believe that we already cover Q&A session. I believe that Prof. Raza and Dr. Sam already highlight a few questions. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Shakirin for fruitful sharing, and I would like to invite all of you to join the next session on 28 July, Halal and Tayyib lecture series, inshallah. Don't forget, and for those who actually who are currently joined in YouTube, don't forget to fill in the attendance and evaluation form. And then I think that's all for today's session. Thank you very much again, Dr. Shakirin. Let us close our session with Tasbih Kafara and Suratul Asr. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations to Dr. Shakirin and to KLM.
Okay. Thanks, Prof.
Thanks, Prof, for the support.
Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.